to sell his baby to American group Liberty Media. It cost Liberty Media $4.4 billion, and they quickly got to work. We got an F1 app almost immediately, and teams were allowed to show us more from behind the scenes. One of Liberty's most important deals was with Netflix, which in 2019 brought us Drive to Survive. The effect? An almost 70% rise in viewership for races in the US alone. It's massively benefited Formula One online too, with a rise from 7.8 million followers across its social media platforms in 2016 to around 50 million today. New eyes are on the sport too, with F1's own subscription TV channel, which people can watch anywhere in the world. But the main market they've tapped into is the US. There's now 3 races there a year, in Texas, Miami and Las Vegas, and an American-branded team, Cadillac, getting involved in the sport too. More races seems to be the direction of travel. A street circuit in Madrid's being welcomed onto the calendar, while conversations around a Grand Prix in Africa have ramped up in the last few years. More big events could be in the offing too, after the massive F1 75 season launch event in London in 2025. 7.5 million people tuned in to watch it live across their social media channels, and that doesn't include the viewing figures for where it was broadcast on TV in certain countries. It seems Liberty will do whatever they can to grow the F1 brand. Their efforts have been worthwhile too, with Forbes valuing the sport at $17.1 billion back in 2023, almost 4 times more than what they bought it for in 2016. Not bad, considering it's seen as a sport where people just drive around in circles.
A very, very good morning. This is the weekend breakfast. Happy Sunday morning. It is Sunday, April the 5th. It's just gone 6 o'clock. I am Sam Ellard in for Shabana Hearn this morning. And with me is the former Chelsea and Republic of Ireland striker, Tony Cascarino. Morning, Cass. How are you?
Morning, Sam. All good.
It is. I'll get it out of the way nice and early.
It's not all good, but...
Well, not all good, but I was thinking, how long is it going to take Tony Cascarino to mention something to do with Liverpool? And I think nearly it took you 30 seconds off the show. I thought maybe there'd be 90 seconds of happy, small talk. How's your Easter weekend,
I'm going to try and be happy, Sam.
Okay. If you can, away from Liverpool, I mean, overall, the Easter weekend so far on a scale of 1 to 10, has it been all right?
Sorry, I was thinking about Liverpool. What did you say again?
I said away from Liverpool for 30 seconds. The Easter weekend.
Yes, it was great. Good? Yeah, I went to Middlesbrough on Friday. I'm going to Milwall, Norwich on Monday. I'm going there for that game, so I'm looking forward to that. And I've watched quite a bit of football, but I'm going to try and be positive for a little bit.
I'll try and help you out.
Initially not, but then afterwards I'll keep trying to get some positive stuff out there, Sam.
Well, FA Cup Saturday was full of goals and drama. Starting at the Etihad, Man City put 4 past Liverpool to cruise through to the semi-finals.
Doku coming inside, found O'Reilly, the angle is tight, he's knocked it square, and Haaland has a hat-trick. Liverpool are being utterly dismantled.
Haaland's 12th hat-trick in a sky blue shirt, now 33 goals across all competitions for City's number 9. Elsewhere, FA Cup magic for Southampton. They buried Arsenal treble hopes with a 2-1 win at St Mary's.
Fellows to come into the penalty area, charged with a shot, Southampton lead again, and that may well be the goal that takes the Saints into the semi-final.
Arsenal fans, we want to hear from you. Back-to-back defeats now last night, and of course before that, the Carabao Cup following defeat to Man City. What's going wrong? Are you worried for the remainder of the season? 03717 223344 is the number to call. And it was also a great night of heavyweight boxing as Deontay Wilder beat Derek Chisora by split decision. It was a thriller at the O2 Arena.
For your winner
by split decision, the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder.
So much to discuss. A big show ahead with you until 10 o'clock this morning. Send us a text to tell us how you're feeling on 81089. Liverpool fans, let's hear from you this morning after yet another bad performance and a bad result. What is going wrong with Liverpool and Arne Slot? The phone lines are very much open on 03717 223344. It's the Weekend Sports Breakfast and we are on talkSPORT. Sunday, April the 5th, it is 6:06. Sam Ellard and Tony Cascarino with you until 10 o'clock this morning. Also to make, I mean, not it's a bad thing that you've got to do an extra hour, but maybe the extra hour on the back of another Liverpool defeat isn't what you wanted this morning, Cass?
No, obviously, Sam, but, full credit to Manchester City, who literally ripped Liverpool apart in so many ways. I don't think Ireland's had an easier game all season.
Yeah, it was pretty much Liverpool from start to finish. Another bad afternoon. The game was live yesterday on talkSPORT, and here's how it sounded.
Knocked it square, and Haaland has a hat-trick. Haaland with yet another hat-trick. His 12th in Manchester City colours. The 28th hat-trick of his career.
Haaland's hat-trick sealed with a stunning passing move, slicing through the opponents.
It felt like the old Erling Haaland, who just doesn't think about, scoring goals. Your 12th hat-trick, I think, for Manchester City. That's a bit special, that one today.
It's always special to score hat-tricks. It's been in a while since I scored for City, so it was good to finally do it again, and of course it's nice to do it against Liverpool. We can still achieve a lot of great things this season, so we have to keep going.
We will give Man City some love between now and 10 o'clock, I promise you. But for Liverpool, another bad afternoon. The 20th defeat since the start of last March. In the last 7, just 2 wins and 4 defeats. And Cass, at no point really this season has Arne Slot and Liverpool managed to turn things around. Managed to find a way to kind of stop the rot. And yesterday was more of the same, wasn't it?
Well, there's a common theme all season of how poor Liverpool are without the ball. Gravenberch, who has been tremendous in previous seasons, certainly last year he was, is not making the same impact in front of the back 2 centre-halves, who, by the way, I keep seeing Konate getting done with a header, whether it's at the far post or someone running, like Haaland did yesterday, running across him and having a header that, was a great finish and a great run. I sort of understand all that. But I'd rather see Konate actually heading clear in his own 18-yard box, who's 6'5". You'd like to think he ain't going to lose too many headers, and he's done it numerous times this year. There's a lot of problems. There's a big elephant in the room at Liverpool, and the big elephant is Mo Salah. As great as he's been, and we can all wax lyrical about how brilliant he is and has been, which is, he's been phenomenal for the club. But I'm watching a player yesterday, watching him and thinking, and you go through his numbers, Sam, he's got 17 goals, club and country all season. Okay, obviously different competitions, Champions League scoring, but he's got 17. This stage last year he had 33. So he's had a 50% drop-off in goals. So that's a big issue. And I'm watching him yesterday, don't know why he's on the pen. That's indulging Mo Salah, because from what I've seen from the AFCON and when he didn't score against Senegal, he missed against Galatasaray, and he takes one again yesterday. I don't think he should have been on the pen, but should he have been left on the field? And it was said in commentary on the field about Mo Salah. We've kept him on because it'll be a very difficult one, and it's become his final tour. But it's not a tour. When you're a great player at a club, you can't have this tour bus of farewells, and you still got to get victories.
And it's also not a tour because Liverpool were in the FA Cup quarterfinals, in the Champions League quarterfinals, and have got to try and finish in the Champions League. So
absolutely.
There's still a lot to play for, isn't there?
Unfortunately, and I've been there myself, not to the levels of Mo Salah, but when sometimes you're not playing well enough, and he clearly knows in his own head he's not playing well enough to justify being in the Liverpool team. But Liverpool have had to indulge him because Arne Slot dropped him early in the season, yeah? Jurgen Klopp had dropped him at the end of his time at Liverpool. So there was obviously some big concerns. Comes back with a fantastic season last year, and now it's gone back to where they were at the end of Jurgen Klopp, where Klopp had a decision to make and probably, obviously, the answer was he left. But he would have had a big decision over Mo Salah.
Cass, you mentioned the penalty. The one that really worried me was the chance he missed in the first half. Because the long ball goes through, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And Salah goes through on goal. And I can't believe how long it took him to get the shot away. And in the end, it allowed Kuzanov, didn't it, to come back in and get a challenge away. But I mean, is that just a lack of quality? Or you mentioned there, is that lack of confidence? Because at no point when Salah went through on that long ball and had the goal at his mercy, did I think he was going to get a shot away and score?
I think you made a really valid point, Sam. And a lot of people will look at that incident and think he's finishing that all day long. And he doesn't. So again, look. So what's the mindset of Mo Salah? Well, I'll give you a mindset of a forward when you're out of sorts, when your lack of belief is making you a poorer player. And Mo's there. He's not looked himself nearly all season. We've seen flashes, but no more than that. Yesterday, we saw a striker that is clearly not as clinical at the moment because his mind isn't right. And he knows it's his final days at Liverpool. But I don't want it to be a tour bus farewell and all that. That can be for the last game of the season.
Yeah. When you got a Champions League quarter-final away at PSG. But also, Cass, I guess what is difficult for Arne Slot is everything you're saying with Salah is absolutely spot on. I still can't, in my mind, watching Mo Salah last season put up one of the best individual performances in the season you're ever going to see. I can't, as a non-footballer, former professional footballer, understand in my mind how the drop-off can be as drastic as what we've seen, where you've got a guy putting up generational numbers last season, Cass, to a guy this season that every time he goes through on goal doesn't look anywhere near capable of putting the ball in the back of the net. But I guess for Arne Slot is you've got, Isak's been injured the last couple of months. You've got Cody Gakpo, who's also been banned out of form. You've got Inga Mo, who looks like he was a young kid who Slot doesn't fully trust yet. So also, I guess, in terms of what's on the bench for Liverpool, if it's not going to be Mo Salah, Slot's not blessed with great options, is he, to come in and play instead of Mo Salah on Tuesday night, for argument's sake, against Paris Saint-Germain?
If you're not playing well enough, Sam, you have to deserve your space in the team. You need to have done enough to be, a manager's choice where he goes, he's playing. At the moment, I think he's spinning plates over Mo Salah and he can't quite work out what's the right thing to do. Being loyal to him, which he's done, Slot. He's played him when at times he shouldn't. So now he's got PSG. But one thing you can't have, and this is, it's a hard thing to say, but I've had it said to me, at the moment, Liverpool carrying Mo Salah. And that is not a good place for the team to be in because he's not playing well enough to justify his spot in the team. I got left out at Celtic, and rightly so, because I wasn't playing well enough. And I remember thinking, I had a chat with Liam Brady, sat down, we had lots of discussions about certain things, and it basically came down to, you're not playing well enough. And if you're not playing well enough, you can't go out against PSG and expect suddenly he's going to just turn it on. I'm afraid for the PSG game for Liverpool. As a fan, I'm thinking, I can't see how we beat them at the moment. And what I saw yesterday, and it's not just Mo Salah, a scapegoat. When you have the manager and you have Szoboszlai, their best player this season, both turn around and say, we're too easy to play against or we lack the fight. That's a really big concern, Sam.
Let's see, shall we then? From the Liverpool manager, here's Arne Slot.
No, I think I've said many times there are three things to play for. That was FA Cup, Champions League and qualifying for the Champions League. Now, we've lost here today in the FA Cup. There now are two objectives to play for, and that's Champions League and qualifying for the Champions League.
Cass, I'm sure you've been asked this plenty of times by Shaban over the last couple of months about the future of Arne Slot, but I've got to ask you it again because Liverpool fans left early. I believe the Liverpool fans, I've seen some videos of them leaving the ground yesterday singing the name of Xavi Alonso. Where are you at with Arne Slot and his future at Liverpool?
I don't think he'll survive at the moment. I mean, unless they go on and win the Champions League, I do not see him surviving. And it's a shame how it's panned out this year because you'd think the second year, with all the investment that was made, that Liverpool would really be a team to be feared. They have not been that at all. And it's just been, the whole season feels like it's been one episode after another. Players, so many of them are out of form of where their levels are and lacking fight. And look, they started well yesterday. But I'm also fed up with the Wirtz's little flicks. He keeps flicking everything. Do you know have you heard of the Harlem Globetrotters?
Yes.
Right, okay. So you're a young man, so
Yes.
you have to go.
I've heard of them, I promise you, Cass.
Right, okay. Well, they were a team that would showboat.
Sure.
That's what they did. They were a team that weren't really a serious professional team. I'm watching some Liverpool players, and Wirtz is one of the biggest, I think, offenders of it, who showboat when they play. And he's a gifted, I'm not denying he's not a hugely talented lad, but if I'm looking at numbers and what he actually creates for the team and goals, it's really low. He's a showboater. That's how I see him.
Yeah, there's nowhere near an FM product, is there?
By Leverkusen, I watched him in his first year when he got, the year he got quite a number of goals. So we're going back 2 or 3 seasons where he got quite a lot of goals. He was not a showboater. He would do it every now and again, but he also had a massive effect on the way he played.
Cass, going into this game, so over the international break, and I think it was Lewis Steele, the Daily Mail, James Pearce, the Athletic, they were all reporting that the Liverpool hierarchy are backing Arne Slot. He's the man to lead the club forward. They looked at kind of other factors, whether it be, players out of form, obviously the tragic loss of Diogo Jota, new signings, bedding, almost, it's not just all Arne Slot's fault. He won us the league last season. Let's stick with him. If Liverpool, let's say, do finish 5th in the table, which is still a possibility given the fact that teams around them, i.e. Chelsea and Aston Villa, are not in great form themselves, can you see a way in which, as a Liverpool fan, would you be comfortable in trusting Arne Slot to take the team forward next season or not?
I like to be loyal, and Liverpool are as a football club generally. They don't sack managers readily. They just don't. They've been loyal. They've already done that. They've shown the loyalty because heads will roll at the football club for what's happened this season because of the investment that's been spent. And yes, you can look at injuries, but performances and the number of defeats that they've had. And yesterday was a real line in the sand because they didn't just get beat by Man City, they got blown away by the end. And yet they started brightly, but if you look at the whole game and how they were taken apart in the end, it was pretty much one-way traffic, and the second half performance was a real letdown.
And it doesn't get much easier, does it, for Liverpool? Because after Man City is Paris Saint-Germain away in the Champions League on Wednesday evening. And that game, PSG-Liverpool in the Champions League quarter-final first leg, is live on talkSPORT, 8 o'clock kickoff. Liverpool fans, the phone lines are open. Let us know this morning how you're feeling, how much faith. Is there any Liverpool fans out there that are still backing Arne Slot to turn things around? You can send us a WhatsApp voice note or call 03717 223344 to come on talkSPORT this morning and have your say. You are listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast. We are on talkSPORT in partnership with the Volkswagen Transporter. Search VW Transporter to find out more.
In terms of greatest Premier League managers, because if he does leave, he will go down as one of the greats.
Yes.
What's your top 3?
Sir Alex, Pep, and Jose for me.
What?
They're
Jose Mourinho?
Yeah. What do you mean, Jose Mourinho?
Not Arsene Wenger?
Arsene Wenger was in the conversation.
Oh, you're putting Jose in there?
Yeah, of course I'm putting Jose in there. 5.5 years, three Premier Leagues. Arsene Wenger had
Premier League all-time manager.
22 years he was there, Arsene Wenger. Won 3. Jose 5.5. Won 3.
I mean, in terms of...
Sir Alex, because he was there...
Sir Alex is no question, right?
He's the Don. He is the Don.
Yeah.
Right, he's the Don.
Yeah.
Pep's number 2. Can't argue. Because it's longevity as well. How long's he been there, Pep? Is it 9 or 10 years? I think I'm right in saying that. If it's not 9, it's coming up for 10.
26.
Okay, so 10 years he's got. Okay.
Yeah.
He's won 6 Premier Leagues.
Yeah.
Come on. That's...
Yeah, no, but Arsene Wenger changed football.
Oh, he did.
Arsene Wenger, when he come to the Premier League, he revolutionised the game. He completely changed the way we play now, the way the Premier League is, what it's become. Really and truthfully, was down to Arsene Wenger.
Without question, because Arsene Wenger changed the attitude. So I remember Arsene Wenger used to come in, used to get the players coming in on a Sunday for a warm down, right? And I was at Ipswich at the time. All of a sudden, I was at George Play. He's got us coming in for a warm down on a Sunday. What's all this about? Arsene Wenger started it.
Yeah.
So I drive from London up to Ipswich for a warm down.
Yeah, but he did. He revolutionised the game. He changed the way that athletes.
Yeah, but fans don't care about that.
Yes, me and Cass spent the 4-minute ad break. Cass was even more irate in the 4-minute ad break about Liverpool than he was in the opening 15 minutes.
Well,
that was some effort, Cass.
I did say, let's get some happy music on to cheer me up.
So you literally wanted the song called Happy to be played, didn't you? But happily for you, Tony Cascarino, and myself, Sam Ellard, on the Weekend Sports Breakfast, we are playing this because Pharrell Williams, he's 53 years old today.
Yeah.
It's his birthday. Happy birthday to the 13-time Grammy Award winner, who I'm led to believe, Cass, is capable of writing a full song in 5 minutes. Now, I guess I would say that I'm probably capable also of writing a song in 5 minutes, but I guess what would make it impressive is if you could write a good song in 5 minutes, not just any song, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he could do it and it could still maybe be good, Cass, and it could go out.
Do you know what Pharrell Williams always... Every time I see him, I think I can't believe his age. He looks so young. He's always looked really young.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to put a number on him, I mean, he looked...
Well, when you said 53 there, I knew because about 10 years ago I had this discussion and someone said to me, you know, he's only 40-odd. And I remember thinking, he looks so well.
I love the fact that 10 years ago on this day on this show, we played out this song, and it was Pharrell Williams' 43rd birthday. And hopefully, Cass, in 10 years' time, you'll be doing it
around 10 years' time. But,
are you a Pharrell Williams fan, Cass? I mean, is he a little bit of you? Would you, if he wrote a new song in 5 minutes, would you pay your hard-earned money to go and watch him?
He's a sing-along type of singer. Do you know what I mean? He'd always
a tap footer.
Yeah, he always seems to produce songs that make you just catchy. They're very catchy songs.
Can you name any of the songs that isn't? I couldn't either. Could you? I mean, no. I'm looking behind the gallery, and With all really, okay, maybe it's just me and you then, Cass. Maybe we've been a little bit too disrespectful to Pharrell Williams. But yeah, apart from happy, that's where my Pharrell Williams knowledge absolutely stops. But yeah, happy birthday to Pharrell Williams. And I'm sure he'll be delighted to hear, Cass, that you think he looks absolutely wonderful.
I just think he looks like a man 10 years, 43, 45 max.
There we go. Living the dream. Living the dream. Cass, back to the FA Cup yesterday. It was a great night, wasn't it, at the Aston Marys for Southampton. They were on cloud nine, beating the Premier League leaders Arsenal 2-1 to get through to the semi-finals. What does this mean, though, for Arsenal? Of course, people talking, weren't they, about the quarter couple of weeks ago. We know that can't happen, beaten by Man City in the Carabao Cup final, and now the treble won't be happening either, beaten by Southampton last night in the FA Cup. Let's hear, shall we, from their manager. Here's Mikel Arteta.
What does it mean in terms of the bigger picture? Obviously losing at Wembley in the Cup final, now being knocked out of the FA Cup, suddenly from talking about 4 trophies, potentially it's down to 2.
This is the reality. When you are there and you are so close, you win it or not. And now is the moment to show what we are made of. When you win, it's easy for us, for our supporters, for everybody. Is now the moment that we have to show.
Cass, I did Southampton's win at Fulham in the last 16.
Yeah.
And I was the first time I'd done them live this season. And I was seriously impressed with the football they played. Like, they looked like the Premier League team against Fulham. And I thought last night as well, Cass, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are moments where they're happy to go, long to the big guy up front. But there were moments in that first half in particular where they played some really, really good football. And I thought Southampton, Cass, fully deserved that victory last night.
Yeah, and you have to give a lot of credit to the manager, Sam. Tonda Eckhart, to pronounce his name right. But he comes through the system. Obviously, he was in charge with the under-21s. And he gets given the opportunity. They haven't lost the game since Hull City in January, would you believe, Southampton. So he's had a massive impact on that football club. And I thought when he made comments before the game about, felt that he could make opportunities against Arsenal. And they clearly did with so much effect. And it feels like a little bit of I would say the end, but the possession-based football where the ball doesn't get moved very forward very quickly, sort of come to an end, because there's much more purpose in passes now and we saw that with Southampton yesterday, and they broke really quickly, and it also made Arsenal defenders make errors, which they did. If you look at Ben White, look at Gabriel with the header, he flicks on. It's all because the play was quick, and it was also quite direct at times. And I'll throw in Man City, because Man City have become a more direct team. And you can see the effects they're having and how much it's affecting the opposition. But yesterday, fair play to Southampton. And Arsenal, and we're going to go, honestly, Sam, we're going to talk about Arsenal. And I think they're going to be in shell shock of what's happened in the last few weeks. I was at the game against Everton at the Emirates where they won late 2-0. It was a great game. Everton were fantastic for 85 minutes. Arsenal got over the line. I think this is a bigger concern at the moment of Arteta will say all the right things, but Arsenal fans are really, really concerned about where they are with injuries mounting up as well.
Yeah, why do you think, Cass, it's been a tricky couple of weeks for Arsenal? What, you mentioned the Everton game that they won, it wasn't a particularly convincing performance. Why do you think there's been a drop off in terms of quality and domination from Arsenal to maybe what they're putting up more closer to the start of the season?
Well, you've got to think of certain people that weren't involved yesterday. I mean, sure. If you've got no Declan Rice, you're really losing the heartbeat of the midfield of energy. Zubimendi is another player that
Saka, Timber.
Yeah, and Timber. You've lost some tenacious players in their positions. Now, they play. Obviously, they got Man City coming up. They got Bournemouth as well, and they're tricky games. But what I did see yesterday was that a Southampton team really hurt them, and mistakes. If you go back to when they were fighting for the title a few years back, when they lost at Newcastle, Arteta played a few injured players because he had to, and they got blown away by Newcastle. And it was sort of the end of their title run, really. And I think all Arsenal fans will be shell-shocked today, that what they've witnessed, because they're a good side. We know they are. They've led the way all season. But for this period of the season to then look vulnerable, that would be a concern. And like I said, Mikel will say everything right,
But then you look at that league table, Cass, and it's 9 points, and sure, City got a game in hand, and we know City play Arsenal as well. So in theory, those 2 victories, they can take it to 3. But with Arsenal, the better goal difference, that's essentially 4 points. It relies on 2 things. It relies on City to win their remaining games, to really put all the pressure on Arsenal. Yeah. And I'm not sure, even though City have looked good in the last couple of weeks, the City win all of their games. And then it's whether you see this Arsenal team dropping a further 4 points outside of that Man City game?
Well, I would say, if you ask me today, and Arsenal have to go to the Etihad and get a victory, I think City will beat them. I think 8 out of 10 times at the moment, they'll beat Arsenal. I think it's really important that Chelsea, who City play next away, that Chelsea get some sort of result for Arsenal. I think they need a bit more help from other teams, because I don't see Arsenal winning every game. I just don't see it.
A quick turnaround for Arsenal. They play next up Tuesday night, another tough game. They go to Sporting in the Champions League quarter-final first leg. That is another game that you can hear live on talkSPORT Tuesday evening. All the build-up from 7 o'clock. It will be an 8 o'clock kick-off. Plenty more Arsenal chat between now and 10 o'clock. Again, Arsenal fans, if you want to get involved this morning on the Weekend Sports Breakfast Show, the number to call is 03717 223344. You are listening to the Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. Lots of great football yesterday and lots of great boxing. Last night, a great fight between Wilder and Chisora, and coming up next, we'll bring you the very best of the action. It was live on talkSPORT.
If you look at the fact that Chelsea have done 600 million worth of transfers in the 25-26 season and paid 65 million agents fees. Now go look at Aston Villa. Aston Villa have done 70 million worth of transfers, 57 million worth of sales, and paid 38 million pounds in agents fees. So when you look at the ratios, you go, you did 120 million worth of business and you paid 38 million, which is about 26%.
Right.
Chelsea have done 600 million worth of business and paid 65 million. So whilst the numbers look horrible and in the scale of things enormous, in the representative terms of what business has been done, they're not enormous. Now, then you take the losses. Chelsea got 100, however they got it and however they concocted it, they got 125 million pounds worth of profit last year. We know how they did it. They sold their women's team and a whole raft of other things.
I'm going to get to that.
So the PS, well, that was what they were allowed to do, right? And in previous times,
I agree.
In previous times, Man City and Chelsea were allowed to build football teams with impunity, and Newcastle can't. So we all are a product of timing, and we're all a product of opportunity, and we're all a product of creative outcomes based upon the circumstances that we operate in the time that we operate them in. So I look at this and go, yeah, they've made 250 million pounds of losses, right? We are, if they're not worried about it, and they believe they can cover the gap between the PSR and also the consequences of squad cap rules that they put into place, that they've got consequence on already, then that's their business.
But it's up to us to observe it. And if Chelsea are the biggest spenders on agents and the biggest spenders on transfers and have the biggest losses, how on earth can Egbali, Behdad Egbali, who you met recently, and to quote you, is one of the most impressive operators you've ever met in football?
One of the most compelling is what I said. Yeah.
A very good morning. This is the Weekend Breakfast. We are live on talkSPORT and also live on YouTube as well and coming to you on your smart TVs. I'm Sam Ellard and with me is the former Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino. Cass, I've got big boots this morning, haven't I, stepping in for the brilliant Shabana Hearn. I thought it was a solid opening 32 minutes and then I called Charlie Pritchard Chris Pritchard.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. And to be fair, he did say to me he's been called a lot worse on talkSPORT and then revealed 5 other mistakes that people have called him since he's been here at talkSPORT. And he said to me that Chris Pritchard was not even that bad. So apologies, Charlie. He's back at 7 o'clock. Some headlines you're waking up to this morning. Real Madrid fell 7 points behind La Liga leaders Barcelona after they fell to a late 2-1 winner for Mallorca. It inflicted a major title blow on Alvaro Arbeloa's side. Bath held off a brave effort from Saracens to book their place in the Champions Cup quarter-finals with a thrilling 31-22 win. And Lancashire captain Jimmy Anderson rolled back the years with a 5-wicket haul at Wantage Road to put his side in control of their county championship game against Northants. And he's doing it, Cass, at the grand old age of 43.
Yeah.
Jimmy Anderson has 704 test wickets for England. There is not another human being alive on the planet who's got more wickets than him in test cricket. As a seam bowler, England retired him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And maybe at that point at 41, you think, you know what? I'll call it a day. I'll go and do some punditry. Yeah, here he is in Division 2 of the County Championship, 43 years of age, still taking wickets. And I promise you, Cass, he's still looking as fit and as strong as ever.
Well, what I would say, when you get caught on the drug of any sport that you love it and you love doing it. And I don't know, Jimmy, do you know him?
I've been lucky enough to be on tours with talkSPORT.
So you'd know the man from speaking
He's
to
obsessed
him.
with it.
Exactly. So he loving something and wanting to be part of it. And he's obviously not playing for the money, is he? He's going for another challenge. And as long as he can physically, he's wanting to do that.
Yeah, I also...
the media can wait.
Yeah, it'll always be there, won't it?
Yeah, it'll be there for him.
And to be fair, he's also able to do both. There's kind of England are looking to change things up a little bit at the moment. With Brendan McCullum is staying on as the head coach, and there's talk they're going to look a little bit more at the county championship and the numbers and who's doing well.
Right.
I love the idea, the sort of 7 games into county championship season. Nobody's taking more wickets than Jimmy Anderson.
Right.
And England are sat there thinking, first test against New Zealand, should we roll it back? Can you bring a 43-year-old back into the test team?
Well, if he was still good enough and you thought he'd make a massive impact, of course you could bring somebody back.
What a story that would be. The return of
Roger
Test
Miller
cricket.
in football was 42, World Cup. Yeah, Roger Miller.
Yeah. So, hey, 42, 43, go on, Jimmy Anderson. The poor North Hand batsmen opening up their season against Lancashire, and they see Jimmy Anderson taking the new ball for Lancashire. That's cricket. Let's now chat some boxing, Cass. It was a heavyweight showdown last night, wasn't it? The final stand for Derek Chisora taking on Deontay Wilder at the O2 Arena last night. Here's how it sounded on the talkSPORT network.
And now London, let the world hear you. It's time for our main event of the evening. Big right hand from Chisora. Wilder felt that. Three massive right hands from Wilder. How on earth did Chisora stay upright? Your winner by split decision, the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder.
It was entertaining, to say the least, but Derek Chisora suffered a points defeat by Deontay Wilder in a wild and entertaining heavyweight contest at the O2 Arena, and what is expected not confirmed, but expected to be his final professional bout. Chisora was dropped in the 8th round, sent through the ropes. It was an incredible sequence. If you haven't seen that, go and find it on social media. The Brit looked close to being stopped several times as Wilder pushed for the finish, but the veteran somehow fought his way back. Wilder was awarded a split decision with scores 115-111 and 115-113, while one judge scored it 115-112 to Chisora. Here's what Wilder had to say to the Zone after his win.
Man, I feel good. First off, I'd like to give the glory to God, because without him, nothing is possible. You know, Derek, he's a warrior. He came like a lion to fight, but like I said before, I don't play boxing, I come to end it. Many people doubted me. They counted me out. They do dirt on my name, but you can't throw dirt on somebody that's chosen. London, y'all all was witness tonight. What power, what destiny, what glory is all about. I just want to thank everybody that came out tonight. I want to thank MF Pro, the best promotion in the world. I want to thank the Zone, and I want to thank the O2 Arena for hosting us. What a magnificent fight it was. And I give all the glory and the thanks to God, and thank Derek as well. Bro, we got to go fishing. You coming to Alabama, baby.
Oh, but by the way, can we get that live on the talkSPORT YouTube channel? Wilder and Chisora just sat there on a Sunday morning listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast Show while fishing. That sounds fun. Cass, I am no boxing expert, and Adam Cattrall is going to join us in the studio at 9 o'clock this morning. What I thought was great about that fight, from my eyes, was it did just feel a little bit like a slugfest, like two guys just going at it, wanting to go on the offence, wanting to be attacking, big blows, big punches, and that's what I thought made it such an entertaining, intriguing fight.
Yeah, old school. Dinosaurs of boxing, you know. And look, when someone's 42 and the other's 40, you know, Deontay Wilder's 40 years old, and Derek, who's been around the block, senior, you know, pro in his game, and, you know, they put on a bit of, like you said, a slugfest. It can be entertaining. But when the fight was sold on, well, they can both get their payday and, you know, one last hurrah in their fighting career, and then they can just, you know, get a nice paycheck. It felt a bit weird, that sort of idea, you know.
Not the greatest seller for that, is it?
Deontay Wilder, after the win, completely comes out and says, well, you know, it's quite clear he wants to have a payday.
Yeah. Well, and also, let's hear from Derek Chisora speaking to talkSPORT Boxing. I thought he told everybody before the fight it was going to be his last fight. Is it his last fight? Maybe not.
Talk to my wife. But you know what? Right now we're free. There's no one else to fight. Calm down.
How are you feeling right now? Spencer's here with me as well.
Because I won the last round. I don't know why they gave it to him. I think by saying it's the last fight, so they gave it to him because he's carrying on. That's why. So
listen.
Maybe a little bit like Jimmy Anderson. Maybe he just doesn't want to walk away from the sport. It's hard to leave, Cass, and you know that better than anyone, right? Having done it for many years.
Yeah. I mean, I was 38 when I finished my career, and, you know, boxing's an age where you think they still keep going. They still have the hunger and the desire to get in that gym and take punches in the face. And you know, Derek Chisora's, you know, typifies that sort of mindset, that he just loves his boxing and wants to fight. And he talks about, I mean, I didn't see the fight, so I can't comment on whether he felt he won the fight or not. But what I do know is that these old warriors do love to have a tear up, and it keeps them going.
Yeah.
It's there. And also mentally it keeps them going, because they get to the gym, they keep themselves in sort of some...
Gets them out of bed in the Monday morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
A proper tear-up. Adam Cattrall, who was there, of course, last night for talkSPORT, will join us in the studio this morning at 9 o'clock to give us his expert view and tell us what next for both fighters, maybe what next for Anthony Joshua. He was there last night with Eddie Hearn, which was good to see. Adam Cattrall with us at 9 o'clock. And, of course, if you want some more immediate reaction, go and check out the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. All of our wonderful analysis will be up there. There is so much to come on talkSPORT today. After us, Sean Custis, Henry Winter bring you the Sunday edition from 10 o'clock this morning. Max Rushton, Barry Glendenning bring you the warm-up, which starts at 12 o'clock today. One more FA Cup quarter-final live on talkSPORT. Should be a great game. 3 p.m. Build-up live coverage of West Ham versus Leeds, presented by Natalie Sawyer. And following that, Imagine Pars with the final word, ready to take your calls on all of the weekend sport. Coming up next, though, on the Weekend Sports Breakfast, we'll bring you some back pages.
Is it nigh on impossible, Frank, to keep a lid on the hype surrounding Moses at the moment?
No, it's not. And the Zone had a massive rating for the fight. I think it's their highest rating this year for it, so I'm told. So, you know, he's people are well aware of what it, you know, who he is and what a talent he is, and he showed that certainly on Saturday. It was a very mature, you know, performance with a very durable, tough guy. And he'd done a job. He'd done a magnificent job. And, you know, look, that's the future of boxing. He's the future of heavyweight boxing. And I'd have no problem tomorrow making him with Mr. Usyk. I'd make it in a heartbeat tomorrow.
Question, Frank, for you. I mean, we had the other day on Talk Boxing Nikisa Badarian, who I know you'll know, and he talked about, and you don't need to be taught how to manage and match fights, right? That's not what I'm making the point here. I'm sort of sense-checking what he said. His attitude was, he would, if he was managing Atomic, it'd stick him in with Andy Ruiz in Madison Square Garden, because it gives an opportunity, A, to put him in against another decent fighter to give him another learning curve, but also breaks him into America by doing something Anthony Joshua couldn't do, which is knocking out American heavyweight that has some repute. Is that got some sense in that thinking?
Sorry, who was it who said that?
Nikisa Badarian, you know, Jake Paul's promoter, and
Nikita's a very good promoter, very, you know, and he knows what he's doing. We will be going to America. That's obvious. That will happen this year, and who the opponent is, we'll see. If it's Ruiz or any, I haven't got a problem with him fighting any American fighter at all.
A very good morning. This is the Weekend Breakfast, Sunday, April the 5th. It's approaching 6:50. We are live on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Sam Ellard, in for Shabana Hearn this morning, alongside the former Marseille striker, Tony Cascarino. Some of your headlines you're waking up to this Sunday morning. Anthony Joshua makes his first public appearance since losing his close friends last December. He was in attendance for the Derek Chisora Deontay Wilder fight last night at the O2 Arena. So it was great to see AJ out and about yesterday. What next for him? Adam Coucher with us in the studio at 9. Robert Lewandowski scored an 87th-minute winner for Barcelona against Atletico Madrid, sending his side 7 points clear at the top of La Liga. Marcus Rashford also on the score sheet, and Chelsea cruised into the FA Cup semi-finals. Port Vale's incredible run to the quarter-finals ended in ruthless fashion at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea winning 7-0. After the game, the Port Vale manager John Brady told talkSPORT, despite the big defeat, he's proud of his side.
Overall, it shows the levels. You know, you're playing players that Argentinian, Brazilian, Portuguese internationals, top of their game, going to the World Cup, and we're struggling at the bottom of League One. And overall, there were some moments. There was a good structure to us at times, but we knew we'd suffer without the ball, but overall, you know, for us to have this run, first time in 72 years, really pleased. Our fans, unbelievable today, 6,000 turned up. And all we're going to try and do on Tuesday night is give them a performance now against Rotherham and show them we're not dead and buried.
Yeah, Port Vale, bottom of League One, and they've had a tough season domestically. Class, I mean, they're 15 points clear of safety, but a tough afternoon at Stamford Bridge, but still an afternoon, an occasion, a run that the players and fans will never forget.
Yeah, like you said, you know, the manager, 6,000 fans turn up at Stamford Bridge, make a good few quid, and hopefully you can have an investment because they're going to have a real hard job of staying in Division 1, that's for sure.
More Chelsea reaction to come between now and 10 o'clock, but at 6:51, talkSPORT reporter Molly Sumter with us in the studio to have a look at today's back pages. Morning, Molly, how are you?
Molly?
I'm doing very well. I've had a great weekend as a Spurs fan, having my team not play, not ruin it.
Yeah.
And Arsenal falling out of the FA Cup yesterday. So it's been quite a good weekend.
You love an international break, don't you? And you love an FA Cup weekend where Spurs aren't playing. I've never seen a Spurs fan look so happy on a Sunday morning in about 2 years.
Step, Sam. It's great.
Where do you want to go, Molly?
Let's start with Liverpool. That's quite a damning defeat for them yesterday. Across the back page of the Mail today, those quotes we saw come from Dominic Szoboszlai. We have no fight. Quite a hard-hitting assessment of their performance yesterday. Lots of Liverpool fans leaving the ground early. They were sacked in the morning chants towards Arne Slot. There's a clip online of Dominic Szoboszlai going over to the fans at full time, sort of throwing his hands in the air, calling for their support, and shrugging his shoulders.
On that, I think Szoboszlai's been brilliant this season.
Absolutely.
But I didn't like that at all. Like, the Liverpool fans will travel week in, week out and spend their hard-earned money on watching Liverpool play football. Don't put in an absolute stinking performance and then go over to the away fans and almost be unhappy that they've left a little bit early. I think he's been great this season, Szoboszlai, but I didn't like that at all, and I think he got that completely wrong.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And the question I have here for Cass is, you know, in your experience as a player, does going over and doing something to the fans like this, does it actually galvanise the fans, or can it actually turn them more against you?
Well, it's a weird one, Molly, because if you don't go to the fans, the fans will turn around and say, well, they couldn't even be bothered to come and, you know, applaud us. And, you know, half the fans is gone. You know, it's an emergency situation at Liverpool. They've got PSG in midweek, and Szoboszlai's somehow trying to galvanise the fans to be with them, which they will be on the night. But it was a very humbling defeat yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard you saying earlier that Liverpool aren't sort of known for rinse and repeat, recycling managers, getting rid of them, and, you know, moving quite rash with the way that they deal with their staff, their managers. Can you see little reason to keep Slot beyond this season? This is, you know, we're talking about a team that won the league last year, broke the transfer record multiple times in the summer, and he just can't seem to get a tune out of these players all playing together.
Yeah, look, the club would have already made the decision. 9 times out of 10, it's nearly done, you know, where they're looking elsewhere, possible targets, and it's kept under wraps. You think of the way Liverpool and with Klopp and how it was kept under wraps with him, his final time. No one knew in November that he was going to call it a day. It's a very... I just hope that Liverpool can find something, because at the moment, I think Liverpool are one of the easiest teams to play against. And it was evident yesterday. And Slot can't find a solution with whoever he's playing at the back. People are playing, you know, having poor games, but they're easy to play against at the moment. They've been all season, to be fair, easy to play against.
Yeah, I can see how much this is paining you to listen to, Sam. So we're going to move over to a bit of Arsenal on the.
Think about that. You're a Spurs fan. You might be happy this morning. Think about the Liverpool fans in the room. Come on now.
See you sat there. You're not enjoying this. So let's talk a bit of Arsenal instead. Something that, you know, I think we can all enjoy talking about. Shay, it ain't so is the headline on in the Sun this morning. It's the first time Arsenal have lost back-to-back games in all competitions this season after going out to that late winner by Shay Charles against Southampton at St Mary's last night. A great watch for me, I must say. But
good hay watch.
Absolutely. I personally didn't think that Arsenal deserved to win that game. Even taking my fan bias out of it, I thought Southampton really showed up. Tonda Eckert has got them playing superbly well, particularly against a strong team like Arsenal. One thing that I did pick out from that game was there seemed to be a real panic about Kepa. And I don't know whether that's maybe what happened in the Carabao Cup final creeping in. I can't understand why, particularly after that Carabao Cup final, why Arteta is persisting with Kepa in these cup competitions.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was, I know hindsight's a wonderful thing and he made a mistake, but I didn't have a problem with him starting the Carabao Cup final. He was, the Carabao Cup goalkeeper from the beginning. And, we've seen, Trafford played that game and went well, didn't he? We've seen Keller for Liverpool for many years, deputised, and Alisson wasn't available. But I agree with you. I thought it was strange in the FA Cup and in an FA Cup quarter-final, especially given what happened, Cass, in that Carabao Cup final, that once again he went with Kepa, not the number one goalkeeper.
Well, obviously Arteta's been very loyal to a goalkeeper who he said you will play games. At the start of the season, you'll be given look, Raya's going to play. He's at, 2 years ago, he didn't know he had a number one, did he, Arteta? He had that Ramsdale and Raya scenario. And he's probably said he'll play an enormous amount of football, in certain competitions, he will play a part. Now, I would have argued circumstances changed slightly, and the League Cup final, the last thing I would have wanted is to lose to City, because we've got to face them in the league. So I would say I'm going to play me number one, because he clearly is way out the number one at Arsenal. I would have done, and it's easy in hindsight. We could all see it in hindsight, but I did think that at the time. I think you cannot get beaten by City in a certain way because you've got them further down the line. And that further down the line could have an impact on you winning the league. So I would have wanted to give my best opportunity to get a result.
Molly, thank you. I've got some bad news for you, by the way. Next Sunday, Tottenham will be playing football again. It's Sunderland away. Are you happy for the start of the Roberto De Zerbi era?
I'm positive. It's hard to be positive as a Spurs fan.
There was a hesitation there, wasn't
there? I worry that all this, we're getting excited about the new type of football we're going to play. It could easily get undone in sort of 10 minutes at Sunderland. They're not an easy team to play, particularly at the Stadium of Light. I would like it to have been a home game first, but if there's anywhere you're going to get yourself going, it's at a tough stadium to play at. So I'm excited.
You don't sound it.
Yeah. I'm telling myself.
I'm sort of
convincing yourself.
The hesitation, the pause in your voice, but you got to try and be optimistic, don't you? Molly, thank you. We'll see you very, very shortly. You are listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast. We are on talkSPORT in partnership with Volkswagen Transporter, working with you on the way. Our top 5 sporty moments of the week.
When we look at the end of the season, let's talk about the title race and the run-in. Manchester City and Arsenal going head-to-head. Arsenal, obviously, in the prime seat right now. They've got Bournemouth at home, City away, Newcastle and Fulham at home, a trip to West Ham before they host Burnley and have Palace on the final day. One extra game to be played by Manchester City. They're away at Chelsea. This isn't this weekend, of course. They're both playing in the FA Cup, but when the Premier League does return, Manchester City will be away at Chelsea. They'll host Arsenal. They're away at Burnley and Everton. They're at home to Brentford, away at Bournemouth, and then 2 home games to end the season against Villa and Palace. When you look at the run-ins, who do you favour?
Arsenal. I think they've got a better run-in, and from Arsenal's point of view, if they can't get that done, I'd be shocked. Yeah. I'd be shocked. I think they've been brilliant all season in terms of the way they've managed games, the way they've won games. Going back to that, they've just won games. They haven't been brilliant on the eye at times. Who cares in their camp? Who cares in that dressing room? Just get it done. And now when I'm looking at the running, that is a favourable run-in for Arsenal. They've got the Manchester City game. They can even afford to lose that. People are talking about the final the other day. Well, you can lose that game, and I still back you to win all of the other games anyway. So, you know, if they don't do it,
Ever fancied having a beer in the stands while watching your team at the Emirates? Well, this season you actually can, and not just there. You can do it at Anfield, Goodison Park, Stamford Bridge and Old Trafford too. But hold on, I hear you cry. Isn't drinking alcohol in the stands at Premier League games illegal? You're right, for the men's game it still is, but the Women's Super League is doing something different. And here's how we got there. Back in the 1980s, football had a serious image problem. The sport was plagued by violence, pitch invasions and beer-fuelled chaos. From fan riots at the 1980 Scottish Cup final to the Heysel disaster years later, things were unsafe and the consequences were disastrous. Then in 1985, Margaret Thatcher's government stepped in. They introduced the Sporting Events Control of Alcohol Act, banning alcohol in view of the pitch across England and Wales. Since then, many fans and clubs have called for the law to be relaxed, especially since other sports don't face the same restrictions. If you're popping down to watch the Red Roses roar at Twickenham, feel free to grab a pint on the way to your seat. Wandering down to Lords to catch some boundary bashing? Fill your boots with G&Ts. But if you were hoping to cheers your club's promotion to the Premier League with a Prosecco in hand from pitchside, sorry, it'll have to be tea or Bovril. In 2021, it looked like things might finally change. The government commissioned the Crouch Report, a fan-led review into football governance. One recommendation was to allow League Two and National League clubs to lift the alcohol ban to boost matchday revenue. But nothing came of it. Authorities still weren't convinced that fans could be trusted. And then in January 2025, something did change. The Women's Championship, now called the WSL 2, launched a trial allowing fans to drink in the stands. The reasoning? Well, fans at women's matches tend to behave differently. Less aggression, more family-friendly vibes. Now, the women's game is raising the bar, literally. Select WSL and WSL2 stadiums are allowing fans to drink alcohol in view of the pitch. It's been a landmark move showing growing trust in fans and recognising that women's football is building its own culture. So could the men's game be the next to leave the 1980s behind? Well, maybe, if fans can prove they can handle a pint without pitching it at someone. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Until then, it's Bovril all around. Cheers to that.
A very good morning. This is the Weekend Breakfast, Sunday, April the 5th. It is 7:04. I'm Sam Ellard in for Shabana Hearn this morning. And with me, the former Chelsea and Celtic striker, Tony Cascarino. Morning, Cass. How are you?
Morning, Sam. All good, all good.
Well, FA Cup Saturday, full of goals and dramas. Starting at the Etihad, Man City put 4 past Liverpool to cruise to the semi-finals.
Doku coming inside, he's found O'Reilly, the angle is tight, he's knocked it square, and Haaland has a hat-trick. Liverpool are being utterly dismantled.
Haaland's 12th hat-trick in a sky blue shirt. Elsewhere, FA Cup magic for Southampton.
Fellows to come into the penalty area, charge with a shot! Southampton lead again! And that may well be the goal that takes the Saints into the semi-final.
No quadruple for Arsenal this season, no treble for Arsenal this season. Arsenal fans, how are you feeling this morning? Get involved in the show, 03717 223344. It was also a great night of heavyweight boxing as Deontay Wilder beat Derek Chisora by split decision in a thriller at the O2.
For your winner by split decision, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder!
So much to discuss. Huge show ahead with you until 10 o'clock this morning on the Weekend Sports Breakfast. You can get involved 8 to 89. Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, let's hear from you this morning. How will you get your season back on track? You know the number by now, 03717 223344. It's the Weekend Sports Breakfast and we're on talkSPORT. Well, let's now continue looking back at a fantastic day of FA Cup football yesterday, and especially for Southampton as they beat the Premier League leaders to book their place at Wembley.
22 yards from goal. There's the shoot by the Southampton fans. Crosses. Oh, he's brought down. And a big opportunity. And a goal from Ross Stewart. Southampton lead. Havertz has got in behind. Cuts it back. Gyökeres. 1-1. Victor Gyökeres off the bench to level for the Gunners.
This has been what the FA Cup is all about. One of the big teams coming down here at St Mary's. Southampton in really, really good form.
And an opportunity for Fellows to come into the penalty area. Charge with a shot. Southampton lead again. And that may well be the goal that takes the Saints into the semi-final. Referee looks at his watch, blows for full time. And Arsenal are sent crashing from the FA Cup. Incredible scenes at the St Mary's Stadium.
Incredible scenes. It was a special evening for Southampton, making it to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Goals from Ross Stewart and Shea Charles were just enough to take Southampton to victory. Victor Gyökeres did equalise for Arsenal late on in the game. Southampton were on a 14-match unbeaten run coming into this game. And Cass, we talk about Arsenal's big game coming up in the week against Sporting. What about for Southampton, who are in a great run of form, aren't they, in the Championship?
Yeah.
They're 7th in the table. They're 1 point behind Wrexham. They got a game in hand, and that game in hand is in the week, and it's against Ipswich, who were 3 points off second place Millwall.
Yeah. Look, the run they've been on has been phenomenal since, like we talked earlier, Sam, since January. I think all teams around that top area, because Ipswich are going to play them, like you said, are going to be fearful of playing Southampton because they look a really good side and they're the team you don't want to get, even though they're just outside the playoffs at the moment. It's quite clear that this team is capable of going on a run like they've been on and continuing it. I think a big thing for him is getting Ross Stewart back, who really didn't look like his Southampton career would ever kick off. And he certainly has now. He looks fitter, he looks sharper, and he obviously had a big impact. He hurt Arsenal yesterday in his performance. He was well prepared to run beyond Gabriel, you know, and getting behind players like he did for Ben White for the goal. You know, so some really good signs for Southampton.
I thought Siennes as well on the left-hand side was really, really dangerous. Every time he got the ball, he wanted to get a Ben White. He was dangerous. Do you know what Ross Stewart's nickname is?
Oh, go on.
They called him the Loch Ness Drogba, which I like and is absolutely true. Let's hear, shall we, from Southampton manager. Here's Ton de Rekker.
Yeah, I think so. I think we invested a lot at the very beginning of the game. Very good start into the game. I actually think that we had some quite good chances early on to go up. Yeah, that's just important. I think all of the games St Mary's have been more or less the same, that we want to start fast, and obviously the support from the stands helps a lot.
Let's get some more reaction with Saints fan and podcaster Martin Sanders. Morning, Martin.
Hi, Martin.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Hope you're well.
Yeah, good.
My voice is a bit croaky. I pretty much lost it last night, that's for sure.
Come on, Martin. Look, we've seen it from the outside, and I've just waxed lyrical about Southampton and the run they've been on and the performances. And watching them last night, that is a team that is so far from what you were at the start of the season.
Yeah, we've come a very, very long way since the days of Will Steele. I joined you on a breakfast show just after Will Steele had been sacked, and Saints were in a right mess, really. We were looking, we were talking about relegation to League One. It was that bad. We were terrible. There was no confidence. There was a lack of shape, identity. There was players out of form. There was no confidence, and we're totally the opposite now. a young manager that's come in, or a head coach in Tonda Eckert, he's done phenomenally well. He's been brilliant. His attention to detail, the players say, is second to none. He has them all on side. They all play for him. He has structure. He's tweaked the side and made really, really good changes. But I have to say, I absolutely love the goalkeeper. I think the signing of the goalkeeper, Daniel Perez, has been huge. He's come from Bayern Munich. He's one of the best clubs in Europe. He's worked with some of the best goalkeepers in the world, Managerial, and he's made a big difference. He was good last night. I said pre-match, I thought he would have a big say in it, and boy, he did. He was brilliant. And then you got Ross Stewart, who played up front, like you said, Tony, and I thought he was really good last night. It was probably his best performance ever in a Saints shirt. He's had some good performances when he's played. When he's been fit, he's struggled to have any periods of time fit. But I thought he was good, and you can't take it away from the two midfielders. They're very young. Yander and Bragg, Cameron Bragg, 20 years old, come through the academy. I thought he was brilliant last night. Such a good, mature performance in what was a cauldron at St Mary's. The atmosphere was just... It was insane.
Yeah, good. And look, just going back to Ross Stewart, I was going to say Rod Stewart there, Ross Stewart. I thought, I was watching it, I was thinking, Gabriel and Mosquera haven't been hurt or feel like they've had a player play so well against them as centre-halves, because he's given them more problems last night than most centre-forwards in the Premier League.
Yeah, he did. Like you said at the top of the show, he's prepared to run in behind, and he does that. He's got a little bit more about him than Cole Larin. And that's probably why Tonda gave him the nod last night. Larin was late back from international duty with Canada, and he's probably been the favoured of the two strikers. But the thing about Ross is, when he's fit, he is a real handful. He occupied the two centre-backs last night, but it was massively helped by the two wide men that were prepared to push the full-backs. I thought that Cienza from the left-hand side was superb last night. He's a joy to watch, an absolute joy to watch. And then you had Tom Fellows playing off the right side, who's been really out of form recently, really struggled. But I thought that the three were really good. Then you had Fernandez that plays in the hole. And Fernandez last night looked like a player that could go and play up a level. I think Saints do have a few players that can do that. And we did have a few question marks over Fernandez at times. But I think the four probably brought the best out of each other, really.
But Martin, that's what I thought was so impressive, and watching as a neutral last night was so enjoyable. It wasn't a championship team playing the Premier League leaders, looking to almost part the bus and try and just rely on set pieces and being aggressive. Sure, at times you were aggressive and used the big man up front, but what impressed me the most, in particular in the first half, there were moments where you played some lovely football. And I was a few weeks ago now. I did your game against Fulham in the last 16. I thought again that was another afternoon where the way you played football, controlled the game. Playing like a Premier League team, really.
Yeah, that's what I really enjoyed about it. And I think in the Championship, the games are a lot slower. And the one thing that I noticed last night, I sat quite low in the stands, the speed and the pace of the game. Arsenal moved the ball quick, but Saints matched them. They moved the ball quick and looked to go forward. They was always looking for forward passes. So Taylor Harwood-Bellis wore the captain's armband last night. His maturity in recent months has been quite incredible. He's really grown as a player. But the fact he wants to play forward, he wants to find a fullback like James Bree, who's prepared to get forward. And then you've got Cienza and Fellows that just want to run at players. They want to go at defenders. And it makes such a difference when you've got players that want to be brave. And when you're in form and we were 14 games unbeaten going into the game last night, then to go 15, it's quite incredible. But I have to give a massive shout out to the atmosphere in St Mary's last night. It takes a bit of criticism. But last night, the atmosphere was outstanding. They brought so much energy. And I think the players really, they fed off it. And that makes a big difference. When the fans are so up for it, the pre-match was brilliant. There was a lovely air around the stadium pre-match. The wind was kicking up off the itching. And there was just like a vibe in the air. It was really surreal. And then you walk into the stadium and you've got celebrities everywhere, TV cameras everywhere, and there's just a buzz, and the players fed off it last night.
Yeah, you must have met Alice Crook then last night. Did you bump into Crookie last night of the game? He nailing the talkSPORT commentaries.
I didn't see him last night, but he's a great guy. Great guy.
He was there. Just one more, Martin. It's Wrexham is your game in hand, isn't it, on Tuesday? Not Ipswich, but that is I mean, maybe not quite as straightforward as a shootout for the final playoff spot, but Wrexham are 6th on 64. Southampton, a point and a place below Wrexham. So the game in a couple of days' time. To state the absolute obvious, my goodness me, what a massive, massive game for both sides.
Yeah, it's a huge game. You are right. The Ipswich game is the game in hand. So that is what would have been our league game on. Well, it should have been Monday, but it's been pushed to Tuesday because of the extra day. We do play Ipswich later in the season. We should have played them on Friday afternoon. Yeah, it would have been a big game. I always thought it was a big back-to-back league games, that was. But I kind of think it favours us moving the Ipswich game. We're going to the Wrexham game now with a lot of confidence. Hopefully last night didn't take too much out of the players. We have to bear in mind that Southampton got through last night without Flynn Downs, who's been brilliant in midfield. He did play last night. He's to come back in the side. Shay Charles, who come off the bench and scored, he will come into the side and start. So he's got some fresh legs to bring. Carl Laren can come in. I think with the momentum, if we can go to Wrexham and get that victory that we need, we will have to be bang up for it. We'll have to be spot on again. I think we got a really good chance at the playoffs, but it's going to be a really, really big 7 league games, and you got a semi-final at Wembley. We're off to Wembley, which is it's brilliant. I'm so excited. Excited.
The Will Steele era must feel like an entirety ago. It's a mad thing. That was this season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Martin, Bobby Stokes. That's all I'm going to say, Martin.
The 76 boys would be so proud of what we did last night. It was just magnificent. 50 years ago since we last won it.
Yeah.
And we're wearing the same strip as well, which is just unbelievable. I think the last time that we beat 2 sides in the top flight when we were a second tier club, we went on to win it in 76. It was the last time we did it. So quite unbelievable.
Martin, well said. Rest that voice today. Thank you for your time and hopefully speak to you soon.
Thank you very much indeed,
Cheers, Martin.
Martin Sanders, Saints fan and podcaster. And Southampton's next game is on Tuesday evening, away at Wrexham, 8 o'clock kickoff. Live commentary on talkSPORT 2. It's the talkSPORT 2 exclusive. Coming up next on the Weekend Sports Breakfast, we'll do some front pages.
Thomas Tuchel's thrown Foden's World Cup hopes into doubt with some comments that he made to the media, Gabby. Here's an interesting one. He was excellent in camp, but he struggles to show it on the pitch. He was so good in training, and I thought he will just surprise us. But yeah, he struggles to have the full impact. It was put to Tuchel that he could not take a struggling player to the World Cup. I can, he replied, but the question would be if we will. It's not a guarantee that he will come. Now, to be fair to Phil Foden, I think there's only about 5 or 6, well, maybe 5 or 6, but there'll be more, about a dozen guarantees.
Yeah.
But there'll be about maybe 6, 7, 8 that aren't guarantees. And I think Phil Foden has now come into that category, Gab. I mean, we've got to be concerned for him, don't you agree?
I think the problem for me, Ali, is that his form for Manchester City has been incredibly bad for Phil Foden. You know, he come on in the 90th minute, Ali, in the cup final against Arsenal. Got 0 minutes in both games against Real Madrid.
I know, mate.
In his last 11 games, Ali, he's only played a total of 183 minutes out of 990 available minutes. 0 goals this year. We're already in April, Ali.
Yeah.
And even for his country, Ali, he's not performed. He's only got 4 goals in 49 England caps. He should be at his peak now at 25. Never done it in an England shirt. And those comments from Thomas Tuchel, I look at them and I say, Thomas Tuchel likes you. He likes the career you've had. He likes you as a player. He's brought you into the squad, even though you didn't deserve to be in it from club form. And you look like, at the moment, it sounds like a training ground player.
The talkSPORT 20k giveaway.
Yeah, good morning. It is the weekend breakfast. Sam Ellard and Tony Cascarino with you until 10 o'clock this morning. It's competition time now, and it's a belter. Just imagine what you do with £20,000. That's right, 20 big ones, because talkSPORT are giving one lucky listener the chance to back 20 grand completely tax-free. Don't miss your chance to win this huge amount of money. Here's how you enter. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close 9th of April 2026, 4 p.m. That's when you need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win £20,000, text WIN to 83338 now. Now it's time for this. talkSPORT reporter Molly Sumter back with us in the studio. Molly Sumter, why are we playing this?
I can't hear it.
She can't hear it.
She hasn't got earphones on.
It's just we thought we'd have a little theme song for you. But sorry, I thought you might have had one of those little...
Surprise me, what is my theme song?
You know what? You take it away. What's in the front pages today, Molly?
Yeah, move swiftly on. Front page, in the Mirror, sorry. The dark arts before the World Cup are already starting, with England boss Thomas Tuchel already celebrating a win over the defending champions Argentina before the tournament's even started. That's because both camps will be based in Kansas. Argentina in a 3-star hotel, England in a 4-star hotel. Now, I've got the Mirror in front of me. These hotels both look quite flash, look quite luxurious. Could this play any part in it? Are we clutching at straws a little bit here?
I mean,
or is that 1 star of luxury?
Staying in a 4-star hotel, you'll never sing that. Maybe that's what we need to sing to the Argentina fans. Molly, I would love to be able to tell you that, yeah, it's coming home. We're in a better hotel than the Argentinians. But I don't know, Cass. I mean, I get it. Hey, listen, staying in a nice place, having the right facilities, it's got to be important, hasn't it?
Well, we didn't stay in particularly nice ones.
Were you in 2-star hotels?
In 1990, with Republic of Ireland. But I know it's nice to be really comfortable. It's like, just take yourself away from an holiday. Unfortunately, it's all judged on what you do on the pitch. You ain't judged, obviously the beds are important, but then they ship them in anyway. They
ship the beds in.
Well, now the different type of mattresses, they do that. Right. A lot of nations do that. Clubs do that.
Cass, if you were playing now a major tournament and someone of the top of Republic of Ireland says, "Come on, Cass, you can pick anything you want, senior, pro. What do you want in the big team hotel? What's Tony Cascarino want to keep him and the rest of the lads happy?"
Activities, basically for when you have a lot of boredom, because there's a lot of sitting around and laying around because you're resting.
Yeah.
But just have a little bit of activity stuff and no more. I'm not one for flashy hotels when you're playing a tournament. No, just somewhere decent to stay, good food, prepare right, and have a bit of fun in the meantime.
Coffee machine. That's all I need, Molly. A good coffee machine. Have a nice coffee of a morning.
Oh, I can't function without a coffee,
No?
mate. I absolutely need one. One other story we want to quickly get into is from the Mail. Friday was actually World Party Day, where we're encouraging people to be happier through partying, through going out, socialising. And that's exactly what Colleen Rooney has done this weekend with her top secret 40th birthday party.
Well, it's
Now,
not top secret if you know about it, right?
It's only not top secret
It's
now.
the worst secret of all time. The Mail knows about it. I know everyone on talkSPORT knows that it was Colleen Rooney's 40th.
Well, she operated with incredible tight security on this birthday. Her guests didn't even know the details, such as the theme of the party, until the day of. She kept this on wraps. Now, Cass, I'm sure in your day you've been to some pretty flash parties. Is that fair to say? Have you got any fond memories or some niche memories, maybe?
Do you know the best parties are the ones you don't know what's coming? You don't, the night you're going to have. They're the best parties. You know, you start off and you go for a few pints or maybe with the lads, and you end up where we're ending up. I love them nights when it was a bit like the unknown.
Yeah, so Friday was...
By the way, on Friday, it was a party. Up in Middlesbrough, there was a party by a load of Milwall fans.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely
The
brilliant.
Milwall fans had a really happy Friday, didn't they? But Molly, I can tell by your... you're a bit of a... You like going to gigs and raves, don't you? You like a...
Yeah, I love a bit of live music,
Do you?
whether that be through a DJ or a band. Yeah, I love going out. I think it's... I don't think people go out enough anymore.
I hate going out.
Well, it's become unaffordable for a lot of people, hasn't it?
No, absolutely. Like, I'm about 21, 22, and none of my age like going out as much as like my parents always say to me, oh, we were out all the time. We were never in the house.
That's me now, Molly. Like for me, a good night. A happy Friday for me would be a takeaway and a good Netflix series.
See, going out for younger people, the whole world has changed. I mean, there used to be a time when one wage in a family was enough to feed the family.
Yeah.
Get the car. We all have iPads now and telephones and all other, maybe a contract with a gymnasium. And now it's 2 wages is not enough. I mean, you can have a couple. And they're both earning, and yet still not enough money for them with all the costs.
Do you know what I love, though? It's my fault for starting it. This was supposed to be about a happy story. I mean, you cats have turned it into a real negative, unhappy story, haven't we?
The positivity comes from the best nights are spontaneous.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The ones you don't know are coming.
Yeah.
Can I set you one task, if that's okay, between now and 10 o'clock? And please don't let me down on this one. Can you please, because you're a top journalist, Molly, one of the best young ones here at talkSPORT, can you use all of your journalistic skills? And I want every single detail on what happened at Colleen Rooney's 40th birthday party, please, okay?
I will do my detective work.
That's coming up between now and 10 o'clock. Molly, thank you very much. This is the Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. Coming up next, we're going to go and chat Inside the Tune. Kieran Trippier announcing yesterday's leaving the football club. Co-host of Inside the Tune, Jack Cunningham. Geordie Jack, he's with us next.
All right, Cundy.
Hello, matey.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
How you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm okay, yeah.
Gone well?
Yes, so for those that don't know, the hair transplant last Thursday.
Yep.
A couple of days off.
Yeah.
Back in today.
You're looking well, mate. You look well.
So far.
You look hard.
Well, well, the head's been shaved, right? So there's always got the image, haven't you? Like of a, a bit of a thug.
Yeah, you look like you're going to be on like Football Factory or something.
Yeah. But look, it went well. It's such a weird process. I mean, you're in the chair for about 8.5 hours. It's all done.
I mean, that's hell for you, right? You can't.
Oh, mate. Well, they gave me. I fell asleep halfway through it. They gave me sedatives. Yes, I struggle to sit still, mate. But
struggle.
I struggle to sit.
Impossible.
Still. Yes, but they're sedatives, mate. They work their magic. But here we go. So the beginning.
Mate, I like it.
Well, we'll see.
It's the new Cundy.
The new version.
The new version of.
New improved. Don't know about that.
It looks all right, mate. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, well, look, big shout out to the Wimpole Clinic. Thank you very much for what they did. And we'll see the results, mate, over the next coming 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
You've got to have a haircut, mate. What's the haircut look? What's the trim? You
Don't know.
Quiff?
Don't know what I'm going to go for, mate.
You look all right with the old skin.
Yes, I'm not having a hair transplant and then looking like this.
No?
I'm not. No, you don't have a hair transplant and shave your head.
It's all right, though.
Well, for the time being, I've got no choice. Yeah. I've got no choice. This is how it's going to be. All right, so there you go.
You're making me die.
Yeah, it's a bit. I mean, did it hurt? Obviously, during the operation, it's very weird, or during the procedure, very weird, mate. There was one at the back, so I had 3 people working on my head at one time, and I couldn't feel it, but I could feel them. It's all like when you had the anaesthetic and.
A very good morning. This is the Weekend Breakfast. We're on talkSPORT. Sunday, April the 5th is just gone, 7:30. I'm Sam Ellard. In for Shabana Hearn this morning. Alongside me is the man. Did you know this, guys? I didn't until about 20 minutes ago. The man who scored the first goal for Milwall in the First Division, Tony Cascarino. Who's going to score the first goal for Milwall next season when they return to the top flight, cast? I mean...
well, look, let's see if Milwall can get there first, because they've got an incredible run in. Starting with Monday against Norwich.
We're in form, by the way, under Philip Clement.
Yeah, I know they are.
Doing a great job there.
Look, I said it earlier, Milwall got a hell of a lot of character in their team. They were in with a chance. I'd love them to do that. And I'd love somebody to be the first person to get the first Premier League goal. Because I know Division 1 doesn't count anymore.
Football it didn't exist, did it, Cass, before the Premier League? Come on.
I played in the Premier League, but obviously...
talk us through the goal. Do you remember it well?
A bit apart. Yeah, it was a cross from a corner, and I get a flick on, and
Well, like a little run to the near post,
Yeah,
flick on.
flicked it on with my feet though, not with my head.
And how did you do that season?
We done really well. We started the season brilliantly. We ended up being top after a certain number of games. I don't know, it's 6 or something like that. But we had a good season. We faded towards the end, but we had a really good first season.
And we're both going to be at Milwall tomorrow. I'm going to be working with Adrian Durham on Around the Grounds, and you're not going to be working.
No,
you're going to be sat somewhere very nice with, I'm guessing, lots of nice food and drink.
No, not really. It's more of I want to go to the game. It's not about the food, Sam. I'm not going there to sit
No, I know.
I'm going there to watch Millwall and hopefully cheer them on to see if they can get a result.
You can have some lunch before or maybe afterwards if you'd like as well.
I'm not really thinking about food. I know a lot of people in here do. When they go to the game.
I'm not saying that you thought I could do with a good meal on Monday, so let's go to Milwall to get some lunch. But I'm saying whilst you take in the game in a nice area, you might have that available to you.
Yeah.
Some headlines you're waking up to this Sunday morning. Southampton beat Premier League leaders Arsenal 2-1 to go through to the FA Cup semi-finals. Also wins yesterday for Chelsea and Man City. Warrington Wolves moved top of the Super League with a victory against the Lee Leopards. And Rangers, how about this? They are top of the Scottish Premiership for the first time in 2 years, beating Dundee United 4-2 at Ibrox. Rangers manager Danny Röhl expressed his belief in his team. They can go all the way and win the title.
If we perform on our highest level, there's a big chance to take a lot of wins. If it's 6, I don't know, but we have a chance to win this title this season. We are in a strong position now, but if you want the 6 games to go, you have to deliver again and again, and this is the most important key.
It's been an extraordinary title race, Cass. Rangers top on 66 points. Hearts and Celtic have both got a game in hand. Hearts also on 66. Celtic back on 61. And both Hearts and Celtic play today. Hearts go to Livingston. Celtic go to Dundee. I know you had your time at Celtic, but I mean, what Hearts have done for pretty much the majority of this season, leading the way. I mean, if they can get over the line, it would be some story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. It's been the story of the season in the SPL about Hearts leading the way, and they've led for so long. Look, they didn't play yesterday. They've got Livingston, as you said, away from home, who are their bottom, aren't they, Livingston? So they feel like they've got a chance, and just being there and put their noses in front again, they are level on points with a game in hand. So it's going to go right to the wire. Celtic are still hovering, so they've got to get a result as well today. So a big day for the SPL.
Yeah, and you also have to remind yourself that Russell Martin was sacked this season. Like, I was always looking, it feels like that happened a long, long time ago, didn't it, Cass? It was around October, he was sacked after 17 games. You got to give Danny Röhl credit for coming in at Rangers, sorting them out, working the way up the table, and again, to be top first time in 2 years. Credit to him. The job he's done there is absolutely incredible this season.
Yeah, well, look, if you look at Celtic and you look at Rangers, Sam, both of them have had enormous amount of changes. Wilfred Nancy coming in at Celtic and Russell Martin, like you said, started the season. There's been turmoil in the SPL all season. Yeah. And how is it going to pan out? Hearts have been the consistent all season. So you're in the final running. There's not many games to go. So
Hearts go to Livingston today. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff. Celtic go to Dundee today. That's a 4:30 kickoff. We'll keep you across both games, of course, throughout the course of the afternoon on talkSPORT. Let's chat some Newcastle, Cass. Some news coming out of St James's Park yesterday. Kieran Trippier to leave Newcastle when the defender's contract expires this summer. He joined Newcastle from Atletico Madrid in January 2022 as the first signing following the club's takeover. I think it's fair to say he's gone all right over the last couple of years. Part of the team, of course, that won the Carabao Cup. He's had 2 seasons playing Champions League football, and he posted an emotional message to his social media channels yesterday afternoon.
I've had an amazing few years here. Managed to win a trophy and some special moments. Well, a big thank you firstly to the supporters for how they welcomed me when I first arrived. Even till now, me playing-wise, going through good moments, bad moments, they've always stuck by me. Me personally and the team. That's Newcastle supporters for you. Just a huge thank you, and I hope I made you proud and gave you good performances. To my teammates, the players that I've left, the players that are now, it's been a joy. This is where I felt most at home, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not just saying that, it truly is. That comes with the players, the staff, everybody associated with Newcastle, the fan base. So, yeah, it's an emotional time. I'm really going to miss it. Of course I am. It's an emotional time, really, but I just hope they, know that I gave everything for the club.
Yeah, we can get more on this now with the Inside the Toon co-host talkSPORT's Jack Cunningham. Jack, morning. I guess if you go back a couple of years when the takeover happened, I mean, I think some people are expecting the first signing to be Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. It didn't quite work out that way, did it? It was Kieran Trippier, but I think it's fair to say over the last 4 or so years, he's had a wonderful Newcastle career, hasn't he?
Yeah, morning, Sam. Hope you're good. Yeah, look, Trippier was the first man. He took the risk to leave Atletico Madrid to come to Newcastle when Newcastle were essentially bottom of the Premier League. He scored 2 free kicks early on against Everton and Aston Villa that helped us get a couple of wins on the board. He then got injured, but then the following season played an absolutely massive role in Newcastle. Getting into the Champions League was probably one of the best right-backs in the league that season. And I think it's fair to say that he's probably been the best right-back Newcastle have ever had, certainly in my time of watching us. I've never seen someone who is as good in all facets of the game, but also a true leader as well. If you go back to the Carabao Cup final last year, he delivered an absolutely top-class performance at right-back when a lot of people were questioning the way he'd been playing. Now, what I will say is this is the right time for him to move on. We've seen this season, probably 23-24, there was a clear decline in Trippier, mainly probably just because of the physicality of the Premier League and him losing his pace. So this season I've seen him essentially look like he's running backwards sometimes. But I think they've done the right thing by announcing it now so that he does get the proper send-off he deserves at the end of the season. And we can move on and get a new right-back in the summer. We're probably going to need 2 right-backs in, to be brutally honest, because I think Tino Livramento will be leaving as well. But Trippier absolutely deserves all of the plaudits because he is a leader. He did take that first risk and he will get the send-off he deserves. It's just the right time for him to go now.
Yeah, and Jack, you brought him in at 31, 32. He's going to be 36 in September, so he's had 4 great years at the club. And as you said, look, fullback is a really hard position because so many wingers are really quick now. Nearly every winger you come up against. And he's actually done brilliantly well to get to 35 and still be a fullback and play quite a lot of football.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think that if you look at sort of the other fullbacks in the Premier League, that a lot of them are a lot younger than Trippier, but he still doesn't really look out of place in a lot of games. His passing, certainly from right back, is top draw. I think that, again, it's just the fact that now there's so many quick wingers around and you can tell it's just getting to his legs a little bit. We've seen it in, I suppose, even though it's in the second leg against Barcelona, he's out of position, he pulls down his man, they get a penalty at the end of the first half, and then, of course, that kind of starts the second half collapse. There's been a few other games this season where he's kind of getting blown past. But again, I suppose that's going to happen eventually. It is going to happen eventually. And you can't discredit him for what he's done at Newcastle. And he will go down as a legend, as will all of those players who won the Carabao Cup. But especially Trippier, because he did lift the trophy. He is one of the captains. And he'll always be remembered fondly on Tyneside. I won't be surprised at some point later on, after his playing career is done, he comes back in some capacity as well, because he clearly loves it there.
Jack, just a broader question on Newcastle. I think there can be no doubt that Eddie Howe's done an incredible job as Newcastle manager, coming in, keeping Newcastle up. He's delivered, of course, the trophy, 2 seasons of Champions League football. But coming out of the international break, Newcastle out of the Champions League, out of the FA Cup, 12th in the table. I mean, 7 points off 5th place, which feels unlikely of getting in the Champions League. What does next season look like for Newcastle moving forward? Does that include Eddie Howe as manager? And does that also include, hopefully, some big investment in the summer to really try and take this group of players to the next level to try and push on properly?
Well, I want to go back to David Hopkinson's comments earlier in the week, because Hopkinson was on talkSPORT sort of start of February, and his message there was Eddie Howe is 100% the man. We are backing him no matter what. And the message this week has subtly changed to, we're not going to speak about Eddie's future until the summer, which kind of feels like he's been given 7 games to get some form of European football. Rightly or wrongly, but I think Hopkinson, as the CEO, wants to come in and put his stamp on the club. Now, we've just signed a new sponsorship deal on the training ground, £6 million a year, which is really good. The revenue is going to be going up, which is brilliant. Ross Wilson is going to be in charge of the transfers in the summer. Of course, last summer we didn't have a sporting director. It was Howe and his cousin Andy Howe. So I think that we're going to see a different transfer strategy from Newcastle no matter what. I think if Eddie stays or goes, and I want Howe to stay, despite this season. Do want him to stay. I think the squad needs a refresh, and Trippier leaving is the first sort of man of those loyal players who've been brilliant for us over the years, but this season there's been a noticeable drop. So I'll put Nick Pope in there, I'll probably put Jacob Murphy there, I'll probably even put Dan Burn in there, to be honest. I'm not saying Dan Burn should leave, but I'm saying I don't think he should be a starting centre-back for Newcastle next season. His level is clearly declining as well. And it's not about being unappreciative of these players. I massively appreciate them, and Newcastle fans love them. But if Newcastle are going to be one of the top clubs in the world, which they keep saying they want to be by 2030, you have to be a bit ruthless with certain players and kind of say, thank you very much for your time, thank you very much for everything you've done. It's probably time for you to move on now.
How do you see, Cass, where Newcastle are at and what's next for them? Does that include Eddie Howe for you?
Oh, absolutely. Look, whatever we think, and it was a tricky scenario last year, as Jack's alluded to. He's made a lot of valid points. But when you lose Isaac and you were disrupted during that summer and you felt like you were forced into rush some transfers through because you clearly had not enough numbers. Yeah, there was things, and there's been heads turned. Tonali's another issue. What happens with Tonali? So there are things, big decisions that need to be made. It's really the season after, which looked like a pretty dramatic one last year. This one's just as vital for Newcastle.
Jack, thank you. Good stuff. And if any Newcastle fans listening want more wonderful Newcastle content, Jack, Inside the Toon is the place to be, yeah?
It is indeed. Inside the Toon weekly on the talkSPORT Newcastle YouTube channel. So yeah, get yourself over there. Sam, have a great day. Cask, have a great day as well.
Cheers, Jack.
There we go. That is Jack Cunningham, co-host of Inside the Toon, which you can get on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. Coming up next, we'll delve more into the FA Cup yesterday. Maybe just touch a little bit more on Chelsea, who got the job done yesterday, didn't they, against Port Vale in emphatic fashion, winning by 7-0. You are listening to The Weekend Breakfast. We are on talkSPORT and a partnership with Volkswagen Transporter, working with you.
What about Mo Salah? With Saudi in mind, is he now the most eligible free agent around?
It's a strange one because Saudi sources sense that MLS are going to make a big push, and MLS sources think he's nailed on to go to Saudi Arabia. And as a free agent, of course, there might be European interest. I'm told that reports linking him with a move to PSG are wide of the mark. They're past that Galacticos era within MLS. A fair few teams have ruled themselves out, such as San Diego, for example, and New York City FC. But there will be franchises in MLS exploring that deal. Some think that Chicago might enter the fray, and others believe that one of the two clubs in Los Angeles will be interested within Saudi Arabia. We know the clubs themselves would love to be able to sign Salah, particularly Al Qadsiya, where Brendan Rodgers is manager, Al Ittihad and Al Hilal. Neom FC could enter the picture as well. But the strange thing I'm hearing in Saudi, Jim, is that the clubs would love him. They've got to be able to finance it. They're reliant on central funding, and central deal makers are still actually debating, is there value in signing Salah at his age and at his wage? Last summer, they would have done it because they were negotiating the TV rights and they thought that they could sign Salah and get a really lucrative deal in Egypt. Now the central deal makers in Saudi are less sure whether he's still going to be the poster boy and have a return on investment. So the clubs are all in on Salah in Saudi, but some senior central figures still on.
Yeah, good morning. This is the Weekend Breakfast. It's 7:50, Sunday, April the 5th. Sam Ellard and the former Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino with you until 10 o'clock this morning. You get an extra hour of the Weekend Sports Breakfast this morning. Now, the latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is now live. Matt Ford and Jacob Hawley speak to the authority on South American football, Tim Vickery, all about Brazil's chances this summer and if they can end their 24-year wait to win the World Cup. And Tim also explains the lasting effect of that remarkable 7-1 defeat in Brazil's home World Cup in 2014 and just what impact that had on the national side and on the wider Brazilian culture.
The collapse in 2014. That's all about not being able to live up to the tradition of being winners. And 2014 is an unbelievable. When they met up in their training ground in hit the hills outside Rio before the World Cup, they got two coaches there, both of whom have won the World Cup. So loads and loads of experience. And one of them says, we've already got one hand on the World Cup. And that was the mood before the competition started. And the story is of things going gradually wrong until they go wrong all at once. As, you know, over the course of the subsequent weeks, that faith that they're going to win just gets chipped away until the end in that game against Germany. It just collapses.
And has that defeat had a major impact?
Yes.
Is there a legacy to that defeat?
Yeah, it's become it's now entered the vocabulary. You could refer to any defeat in any walk of life as a 7-1. You know, all you have to say is it's a 7.
I remember I was Cass when I watched that game. I remember being with my friends in Zante having a great week away on my first lads holiday. I mean, it is still one of the most remarkable and extraordinary. I mean, even just looking at it in front of me on a laptop, to see that scoreline, Brazil 1, Germany 7, absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, of course, because it's Brazil. Expectation on them. I mean, I was in the World Cup of '94. Brazil won it and still got criticised. And they won it.
That's brutal.
No, but they were criticised for their style because they played Dunga in front of a back four and literally kept possession-based football, which Brazilian fans did not agree with. And they won it, so they get criticised. So the level of expectancy on Brazil is enormous. And the 7-1 was one of the most extraordinary results in football. I mean, do you remember who scored the Brazilian goal without cheating? Don't cheat.
Okay, I've cheated. Tell me.
Oscar. And he got a last-minute, I say consolation, but it's one of the worst consolation goals ever to get, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that was, of course it shocked. You know, Germany, winning as comfortably as they did was a shock to everybody who's watched football over the years. Seeing Brazil get beat 7, they beat Italy 4-1 in 1970. And that was a massive shock to Italian fans that they'd get beat so comfortably, the way that Italian football was at that time. And yet Brazilian football, it's losing 7-1. It was an extraordinary result.
What about Brazil this year then, this summer 2026?
Well, I'm not optimistic about them because I watched them in Qatar and again I saw the end of Neymar because it was sort of his final swan song in Qatar, and others, Richarlison, and just felt Vinicius Junior. He's a great player, but are these players as good as years gone by? I think they're close, but not close enough. Do I see Brazil winning it? I'd be surprised if they did.
South American football expert Tim Vickery there on how to win the World Cup. It is available right now wherever you get your podcast. We've touched on 2 FA Cup games yesterday, cast in, with Southampton knocking out Arsenal, causing an upset. Another bad afternoon for Liverpool with Man City winning. Chelsea also the third team to get themselves through to the semi-finals. They beat Port Vale, bottom of League One, comfortably at Stamford Bridge by 7-0. Here's the head coach, Liam Rosenior.
Yeah, we're here for the football, and we want to make people happy, not off the pitch. We want to make people happy by what they see on the pitch. And I was delighted with the application of the players actually in the 2 days leading up to this game when they came back from international duty. And now we've got a really, really important week on the training ground to prepare for a huge game against Manchester City.
Let's get more on this game now with Chelsea fan and content creator Jayden Dubry. Jane, thank you very much for joining us on the show. I guess going into the international break, it was a tough couple of weeks, wasn't it, for Liam Rosenior in particular? That defeat to Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, I guess, was yesterday all about just getting through and almost just, calming a little bit of nerves?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, listen, 100%. I mean, you're going into the international break with 4 losses on the bounce. That's never a good sign. I think that was the first manager to do it since before the 2000s. So yeah, to get that win 7-0 as well. Obviously, you do have to take into account it's Port Vale, but now you look at it and you go Arsenal out the competition, Man City the only like real other big six team in it. It's an opportunity for you to go and win it. And for Liam Rosenior personally, I feel like if he could win that trophy, he'll win a lot. Not to say it will be forgiven with the ownership, but for him personally to win a trophy, Chelsea's first domestic trophy since 2018, I think he'll win a lot of the fans over. So I think, we needed a performance like that to go to Wembley into the semi-final. All of a sudden, you're looking at it going, we have an opportunity to win it and to salvage our season.
Jayden, it was pretty obvious from the opening minutes going 1-0 up and then 7 different goal scorers, and it felt so comfortable for Chelsea yesterday. Look, they're playing against a team at bottom of League One, so it was always going to be a victory. It was just how many. And Chelsea needed, after conceding so many goals against PSG in their recent performances like you touched on, it was a needed result.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you touched on there. My biggest shock was the fact that we kept the clean sheet with the amount of goals we've been conceding. But yeah, as I say, to get 7 goals and we just looked clinical, like we were going forward. Even had Malo Gusto playing well, that inverted fullback role. I think that was one of the best performances I've seen him play for Chelsea in a while. Again, albeit it was Port Vale. But yeah, we looked okay. But now I want to see this is how we do in the Premier League. We've got Manchester City next week, and we saw how they absolutely peppered Liverpool. So that's not going to be an easy game. We've just got to see.
How frustrating has it been, Jayden, being a Chelsea fan? Because there's not... I can't. I've been to a lot of Chelsea games and I've come away more often than not seeing... I've seen some really good performances for a period of time in a game, but never really convincing of getting a 70-minute plus performance. It always feels Chelsea gives something away.
Yeah, no, I think the frustrating thing for a lot of Chelsea fans, much like myself, is you look at last season and we won the 2 trophies, the Conference League and the Club World Cup, and you think to yourself, okay, all of a sudden, can we now build on this? Can we go into the transfer window, sign what we need, and then can we actually compete for a title, maybe win another trophy? I feel like this season we haven't really done that. If anything, we've regressed. And you look at the goals we're conceding. We didn't sign a centre-half in the summer, despite Levi Colwill going down injured. And I think that left a lot of Chelsea fans just frustrated. You look at the players we brought in, you look at Garnacho, is he really an upgrade on Jadon Sancho? Is Liam to that really an upgrade on Nicholas Jackson? João Pedro's coming and done very well, albeit. And then you look at Enzo Maresca's situation leaving New Year, and you look at it and think, all he asked for was a centre-half. You could tell he wasn't happy with the defenders we had. So, and after winning the 2 trophies, for him to just leave just like that, you could see a lot of Chelsea fans being unhappy with that. So, as I say, if we were to win the FA Cup, I think our season depends on that. It's going to salvage our season because we're out the Champions League, we're out the Carabao Cup, we're not in the title race. We're still in the top 4 race mathematically, but I personally just don't see it. So all of a sudden now you've gone from getting top 4 last season to now qualifying for Europa League this season, which is all of a sudden regression. So yeah, that's why it has been a frustrating season for Chelsea. But if we can go into the summer, if they can actually sign the players we need, i.e. a defender, maybe even a new goalkeeper, and win the FA Cup, then you never know.
Jayden, good stuff. Thank you very much for joining us and enjoy your day.
Cheers, Jayden.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You are listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast. Cass, you're not 2/3. We're not 2/3 all the way through the show. I guess normally at this point you'd be thinking, here we go, final hour. No, 2 more hours to go, Cass.
Yeah. Well, let's enjoy it.
The more the better, right? The more the merrier is what I think. We are approaching 8 o'clock on Sunday, April the 5th. You are listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast. So much more FA Cup reaction to come between now and 10 o'clock. I also look ahead to the big game as well at 9:30. Brian Dean, the former Leeds and West Ham striker, will join us. You're listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast. We are on talkSPORT.
Yeah, I know, Ali, I got in trouble with you and Cass yesterday because you accused me of basically coming in and causing absolute chaos with the Mark Cucurella and Chelsea story. So I've got another one for you today. I thought, why not just carry it on?
Good on you.
And I thought we'd carry on with Chelsea and Enzo Fernandez, because Enzo Fernandez in the Chelsea firing line. Chelsea players have been unimpressed with his leadership on and off the pitch during the team's dramatic slump in form. He's berated teammates on the pitch, been vocal in the dressing room. Obviously, he's a vice-captain at Chelsea. He's put his own future in doubt. He has hinted at Real Madrid. He then recently has said on a stream whilst on international duty about how he'd love to live in Madrid. I mean, he ain't really playing hard to get, is he? It's giving a little bit desperate. It's not a good look, is it? As a Chelsea fan, you'd want him out if he's behaving like this.
Well, listen, if he doesn't want to be there, it's very, very difficult for the manager or the players, to want somebody in the dressing room and that. They've got the potential to be a bit of a rotten apple, if you like. And I just think there's a few boys, particularly in international duty, they go away and then they get caught up.
They forget, don't they,
Yeah,
their place?
they do. They think that, that these comments won't get back to their mother clubs and things like that. So.
Ever fancied having a beer in the stands while watching your team at the Emirates? Well, this season you actually can, and not just there. You can do it at Anfield, Goodison Park, Stamford Bridge and Old Trafford too. But hold on, I hear you cry. Isn't drinking alcohol in the stands at Premier League games illegal? You're right, for the men's game it still is, but the Women's Super League is doing something different. And here's how we got there. Back in the 1980s, football had a serious image problem. The sport was plagued by violence, pitch invasions and beer-fuelled chaos. From fan riots at the 1980 Scottish Cup final to the Heysel disaster years later, things were unsafe and the consequences were disastrous. Then in 1985, Margaret Thatcher's government stepped in. They introduced the Sporting Events Control of Alcohol Act, banning alcohol in view of the pitch across England and Wales. Since then, many fans and clubs have called for the law to be relaxed, especially since other sports don't face the same restrictions. If you're popping down to watch the Red Roses roar at Twickenham, feel free to grab a pint on the way to your seat. Wandering down to Lords to catch some boundary bashing? Fill your boots with G&Ts. But if you were hoping to cheers your club's promotion to the Premier League with a Prosecco in hand from pitchside, sorry, it'll have to be tea or Bovril. In 2021, it looked like things might finally change. The government commissioned the Crouch Report, a fan-led review into football governance. One recommendation was to allow League Two and National League clubs to lift the alcohol ban to boost matchday revenue. But nothing came of it. Authorities still weren't convinced that fans could be trusted. And then in January 2025, something did change. The Women's Championship, now called the WSL2, launched a trial allowing fans to drink in the stands. The reasoning? Well, fans at women's matches tend to behave differently. Less aggression, more family-friendly vibes. Now, the women's game is raising the bar, literally. Select WSL and WSL2 stadiums are allowing fans to drink alcohol in view of the pitch. It's been a landmark move, showing growing trust in fans and recognising that women's football is building its own culture. So could the men's game be the next to leave the 1980s behind? Well, maybe, if fans can prove they can handle a pint without pitching it at someone. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Until then, it's Bovril all around. Cheers to that.
A very good morning. This is the Weekend Breakfast. We're live on talkSPORT and coming to you as well on YouTube and on your smart TVs. I'm Sam Ellard, and with me is the former Milwall and Chelsea striker, Tony Cascarino. FA Cup Saturday was full of goals and drama. Starting at the Etihad, it was another bad day for Liverpool.
Doku coming inside, found O'Reilly. The angle is tight. He's knocked it square, and Haaland has a hat-trick. Liverpool are being utterly dismantled.
Haaland's 12th hat-trick in a sky blue shirt, City through to the semi-finals. Elsewhere, FA Cup magic for Southampton.
Fellows to come into the penalty area. Charge with a shot! Southampton lead again! And that may well be the goal that takes the Saints into the semi-final.
Arsenal losing to City in the Carabao Cup final, now out of the FA Cup. It was also a great night of heavyweight boxing as Wilder beat Chisora.
For your winner by split decision, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder!
Adam 9 o'clock this morning. Let's hear from you this morning. 03717223344 if you want to come on talkSPORT and have your say on yesterday's action in the FA Cup, or perhaps you're a fan of a team in the EFL. Another big set of fixtures to come tomorrow on Bank Holiday Monday. It is the Weekend Sports Breakfast and we're on talkSPORT. Cass, just want to touch on City-Liverpool yesterday. You spoke very passionately at the top of the show about Liverpool and their problems and what's going wrong with Arne Slot. But just on City, there's so much talk, isn't there, about Pep Guardiola and what he's going to do, whether he's going to still be at the football club next season. If you had to look into the Tony Cascarino crystal ball, yes or no, do you think Pep's in charge of City first game of next season?
Probably yes, because I think he'd be really excited about how this City team have developed with transfers. Obviously, Mark Gay coming in and Shemenya has made a big difference. The likes of Shirky, how he settled in, his ability on the ball is exciting. Kuzhanov, the centre half, I think he's probably really excited about this City team. And if you said to me today, who would I think? I think they'll win the title next year, City. I really do. I think they'll get back to Pep's ways of winning football matches, and there's a slight little tweak to their performance, as in more direct, more with purpose, not so much possession based. And I think they're a standout team for next year. It's going to be as much as what all the others have improved to get closer to City this year, because they've not been as good in the early part of the season. But what we're seeing now is, I think, a team that is going to be better next season than they are now.
A good day for City, a good couple of weeks for City, wasn't it? Obviously beating Arsenal in the Carabao Cup for the international break, and then getting past Liverpool to get through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. With Liverpool, Cass, is it just more of the same? Apart from perhaps the Galatasaray game at home in the Champions League, where Liverpool did play really well and felt a bit of a throwback to sort of the great Jurgen Klopp teams, was yesterday just another bad performance in a season for Liverpool where Arne Slot has never really been able to turn things around, Cass?
Sam, what was disappointing yesterday, Liverpool started quite brightly, and once they went 1-0 behind, it unravelled very, very quickly, and then they fell apart. And City just tore them apart with interchange play, movement, a bit of, and I look at Liverpool, and I've said all season, when they'd won 5 games on the row, I'd said that this team has still got a lot to prove, because they've got a lot of dramatic late winners of that period, and they've not sort of found their form of last season's. I mean, look, at the end of last season, they'd won the title quite comfortably. It's been a very difficult year for Liverpool. The only plus side is, after a year on and players settling in, and Isaac having a full pre-season and others, but there needs to be some certain change. I mean, Konate in his final year of his contract, I think they need a centre half. And look, they lost a young lad as well with injury, Liane, another issue. I mean, look, it's been the fullback settling in. Everything, Frimpong's come in, Kirkes has come in. How have they done? okay.
But because of all of that, is that why you think Arne Slot will be in charge next season? Because
No, I don't think he will be in charge.
You don't think he will be?
No, I don't. And unless he can go and ultimately win the Champions League and save the season, I can't see him surviving. I think it's been... You just look at the amount of defeats, Sam, this season. You know, it's a huge number. Was it 11 in the Premier League?
Yeah. It's been 20. That was the 20th since the start of last March towards the end of last season.
Exactly. So it's been about 11 in the Premier League, and they had a decent Champions League in the group stage, or say group, it's the table. But it's been a season to forget for Liverpool. There is very few. You name the player of the year is so obvious for Liverpool. Who else?
It can only be Dominic Szoboszlai, yeah.
After that, who's played well enough or to the standard?
Again, the only one I say maybe is Alisson before he got injured, but yeah, I mean Dominic Szoboszlai's been, I'd say, the second best player, most exciting player of Liverpool this season. I'll say he's been the young boy, Rio and Gamoa. Yeah, and he's played a handful of games.
I was going to say, well, you're stretching it there, but you look at Gravenbeck and you look at McAllister, and then you go Gakpo and you go Salah, and you literally go one after another in every position. They've fallen short, and Liverpool it's been a really meek defence of the title.
A bad season for Liverpool. Perhaps, Cass, it's certainly been an even worse season for Tottenham Hotspur, who we know between now and the end of the season have got work to do to get themselves out of this relegation fight. They're at Sunderland next weekend, 17th in the table, a point and a place above West Ham. But West Ham that weekend, Cass, they play on the Friday night at home to Wolves. So there's possibly a high chance the Spurs won't be outside of the relegation zone when that game takes place. Of course, we know by now Roberto De Zerbi is the new Tottenham manager. He's been speaking for the first time since being announced as Spurs boss.
I'm here now, maybe at the end of the season, because we have to win the game. And in football, the style of play, the tactical disposition are important. There is a mentality, and I would like to help the player to reach the best mentality we can show. I signed 5 years of contract because for me is a big challenge, and I will be the coach of Tottenham next season. No matter what.
Well, Inside Spurs co-host and talkSPORT, Sonny Sterling, is joining us now live on talkSPORT. Sonny, good morning. I guess a couple of days on, the dust has settled. What will be next week? That big game against Sunderland away. I mean, how have Spurs fans sort of, taken the last couple of days? I mean, it feels like, he's been under a lot of pressure, had to answer a lot of questions already internally. Is Spurs fans happy, optimistic about what's to come the next couple of weeks with the new man in charge?
Yeah, good morning, Sam. Good morning, Cass. It's been a bit of a mixed review of Roberto De Zerbi. Obviously, we all know about his personality on and off the pitch and how he deals with boards. I think some of the Tottenham fans are scared about that, especially after he signed a 5-year deal. And I don't think he's lasted longer than 1 year, 9 months at any of his previous clubs. But after seeing some of his first training sessions, I mean, it does look a bit more dynamic. He's, you can overly hear him saying one touch, one touch, one touch. We haven't had that style of football, obviously, since Ange Postecoglou. It's been quite turgid under Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor, respectively. But I've been seeing reports from the different journalists who, are inside the Tottenham camp saying that apparently Spurs players are leaving with rave reviews. They really enjoyed the style. They really feel a bit more positive now. So, I mean, in my opinion, the dial has probably moved from like here to there in our chances of staying up, because I'm still a bit.
For people on radio, that's not very much, is it?
Sonny, the visual product.
Can I just look? You said there 1 year, 9 months. Honestly, Marseille is very hard to stay plus 1 year, okay? That is the type of club it is, okay? So it's very turbulent. And he done a very good job there with limited resources, because he brought a number of players in like Emerson, Højbjerg and others from the Premier League that weren't deemed good enough for the Premier League anymore or seen better days. And he got a tune out of them. And Marseille, and then people look at the Champions League group or table and say, well, they didn't make the first phase. They didn't make it because they clearly didn't have a squad even close to being good enough. Okay? I think you'll be surprised by De Zerbi, because I felt what he did at Marseille was a big achievement. He was never, ever going to get close to PSG. It's just a million miles away because of their revenue, the wages they can pay, transfer fees. So I'd be optimistic if I was you. I've been lucky enough to go to Marseille a few times when he's been manager, and I've come away, and you'll find it hard push to find Marseille fans who didn't think a lot of him. And he had ruptions with the board or people upstairs because there was broken promises there. Now, that happens a lot in football, but it happened to him at
100%.
a club. That was why it was so turbulent at Marseille.
Yeah, I think what gives me more positive hope is you say about his time at Marseille and then also Brighton. It seems like, if he's given resources, he improves players. If he's given to deal what he's got in front of him, he makes the most of that as well. Whereas, I thought Thomas Frank was personally going to be like that. We've seen how he improved players at Brentford, but it's he never really was able to, really turn the tide with certain individuals. Sam was saying about the Liverpool players. It's hard for me to name some good Tottenham players this season, bar Archie Gray maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am confident because I think his style of football is what the Tottenham fans are screaming for. We want, the minimal we want is, attacking dynamic football, and we will get that. And, putting his personality to one side, when he gets his head down, and as long as our board are willing to work with him, give him some players that he wants, and, let him have some freedom in that regard, then, it could be a match made in heaven. But I think I've just been burnt by all these previous managerial appointments. I'll see how the Sunderland games goes. I'll see how the next 7 games go, and then I think we'll be able to see what a Roberto De Zerbi Tottenham side does actually look like.
You will have some spiky press conferences, by the way. That will be coming.
Yeah, we had that with Ange Postecoglou. We had it with Jose Mourinho.
And Conte as well, the famous one at Southampton.
Yeah.
There you go, Sam.
But,
Spot on.
Hey, look at the positive. There is I feel like an air. I was at the last game. You got beat under Tudor, and I came away and it felt like it was just doom and gloom everywhere at Spurs. And having some sort of lift, you never know how that outcome comes.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say is because we were obviously touting him up when he got sacked from Marseille and before we brought Igor Tudor in. It's almost a shame we didn't have those extra. I think it was another 7 games on top, including both Atletico Madrid ties. Because if we would have had 14 games till the end of the season, we could have seen that more distinct style. But it was pretty much what Tottenham did with Conte and Nuno. We tried to get Conte, he didn't want to come. We then got Nuno. And we paid up. We always pay up eventually for managers. That's what Tottenham end up doing. But yeah, I think there are positives there. It's just, as I keep saying, I've been burnt this season, and I'm still worried that we are going to get relegated. The odds are against us. West Ham are in better form than us, and Leeds and Forest I feel like are as well.
Sonny, thank you for joining us this morning. Enjoy your day, and good luck with the Roberto De Zerbi era.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
Well, he says the odds are against Tottenham Hotspur. We'll find out next. Coral will joining us next on the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT in partnership with Volkswagen Transporter. Search VW Transporter to find out more.
In terms of greatest Premier League managers, because if he does leave, he will go down as one of the greats.
Yes.
What's your top 3?
Sir Alex, Pep, and Jose for me.
What?
They're
Jose Mourinho?
Yeah. What do you mean, Jose Mourinho?
Not Arsene Wenger?
Arsene Wenger was in the conversation.
Oh, you're putting Jose in there?
Yeah, of course I'm putting Jose in there. 5.5 years, three Premier Leagues. Arsene Wenger had
Premier League all-time manager.
22 years he was there, Arsene Wenger. Won 3. Jose 5.5. Won 3.
I mean, in terms of
Sir Alex, because He was there.
Sir Alex is no question, right?
He's the
13
Don.
titles.
He is the Don.
Yeah.
Right? He's the Don.
Yeah.
Pep's number 2. Can't argue. Because it's longevity as well. How long's he been there, Pep? Is it 9 or 10 years? I think I'm right in saying that. If it's not 9, it's coming up for 10.
26.
Okay, so 10 years he's
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's won 6 Premier Leagues.
Yeah.
Come on. That's...
Yeah, no, but Arsene Wenger changed football.
Oh, he did.
Arsene Wenger, when he come to the Premier League, he revolutionised the game. He completely changed the way we play now, the way the Premier League is, what it's become.
Without
really and truthfully, was down to Arsene Wenger.
Without question, because Arsene Wenger changed the attitude. So I remember Arsene Wenger used to come in, used to get the players coming in on a Sunday for a warm down, right? And I was at Ipswich at the time. All of a sudden, I was at George Burley. He's got us coming in for a warm down on a Sunday. What's all this about? Arsene Wenger started it.
Yeah.
So I drive from London up to Ipswich for a warm down.
Yeah, but he did. He revolutionised the game. He changed the way that athletes...
Yeah, but fans don't care about that.
Different.
A very good morning. You are listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast. It's Sam Ellard and the former Chelsea Celtic striker Tony Cascarino. And of course, it's a little bit of Pharrell Williams. A big happy birthday to the Grammy Award-winning producer and artist. He turns 53 today. I would have played Happy Again, Cass. I just think to properly celebrate Pharrell Williams on a bank holiday Sunday, a bank holiday weekend, I'd have just gone Happy Again. And I think everybody would have been really, really happy.
Yeah, good, yeah.
Did you know, you probably didn't know this, but when Pharrell was 17, he was fired from 3 separate McDonald's jobs. One of his managers telling him he was costing the restaurant a fortune, burning all the meat. I mean, that takes some doing, doesn't it, to get released from 3 separate McDonald's jobs?
That's a pretty mad story.
How much meat do you have to burn?
Well, how can you not learn to not burn meat?
Yeah, well,
Matt, is it deliberately burning meat?
Well, I possibly...
Maybe he liked his burgers well done.
I don't know, or maybe he was desperate to get away from McDonald's because he knew, Cass, that he was going to go on and become a Grammy Award-winning artist, maybe something like that. Cass, your worst ever job, what were you doing before you made it in football?
Dry cleaners. I worked in the dry cleaners.
And you didn't burn any clothes, did you, or anything like that? You managed to wash
no, I got a few things wrong. I did do the... it's not like an ironing machine, you know, when you put the trousers on and you're sort of there. I did burn a pair of trousers once.
So you actually did burn a pair of trousers?
Yeah, because they didn't let me on it very often. And when I did...
I'm not surprised. Pharrell Williams is burning all the meat in McDonald's. You're burning all the trousers.
Yeah, I did do that. That was in St Paul's Cray, which is sort of south of London because it's more mainly Kent than London. But, yeah, that was where I did it.
It worked out right for you in the end, didn't it, Cass?
Well, yeah, I got what only lasted 2 weeks.
There we go. Lasted 2 weeks. And
they literally said to me, "It's not for you, is it?"
Yeah, it's not for you. And as they did that, they showed you a pair of burnt trousers. 8:24. Let's now get all the latest odds with Coral.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
A very good morning to Dave Stevens. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hi, David.
I'm very good, Sam. Happy Easter, Cass. Yet another chapter of the Cascarino story. Honestly, I've said it before. I know there's been documentaries. There needs to be a movie of Cass's life, Sam.
I would pay good money to watch a movie of Tony Cascarino's life. You up for it, Cass? I mean, if someone came and approached you with a big money offer, you wouldn't say no, would you?
I've already done it, Sam.
You've already done a movie on your life?
A film came out in Ireland for RTE last year, at the end of last year. And it was shown on a private screen, a private screen in London at the Charlotte Hotel, and there was a good few people from talkSPORT there.
Can you send it to Dave?
I have asked it to be sent on, but it was for RTE in Ireland. But it was a documentary, yeah.
Oh,
I've already done it.
Sounds really exciting. We just didn't get the invite, did we?
And I didn't die.
I was going to say, Sam, interesting, big night out at the Charlotte Street Hotel for talkSPORT, but not you and I.
Everyone was there apart from me and you, Dave, which is quite frankly bang out of order. So, Cass, I'm ignoring you now and moving on. And Dave, I'm going to ask you, we've got one more FA Cup quarter-final today, West Ham versus Leeds United.
Yeah, I mean, look, two teams with more important things on their plate, you would think, obviously, than that is staying in the Premier League. But I suppose this is a bit of a distraction, possibly so close on the betting. West Ham, by dint of home advantage, the slightest of favourites, cast 13-8, 8-5 Leeds. The draw 12-5. I don't know about you guys. This could easily finish 0-0 after 90 minutes, which is an 8-1 shot. Two teams pretty low on confidence. Cass, a helpful distraction for these teams or something they could do without?
No, I would always look at it as something to look forward to, David, because, they've both had their issues along the way during the season. Not so much Leeds, but more so West Ham. But the international break, you get in the training, and you'd want a great cup tie, and that's what it is.
And I suppose also there's that, they will be looking at it after yesterday with Arsenal going out. I'm a Portsmouth fan, so I'm never going to be completely... fair, in my opinion, to Southampton, but they're the team that any of these teams will now want to draw in the semi-finals, aren't they? So what does it mean for the outright betting yesterday? It means Manchester City are now odds on to win another cup competition, 4-6, 11-4 Chelsea, 10-1 West Ham, 12 Leeds. Obviously, one of those will shorten dramatically, 14-1 Southampton. But listen, I'm big enough to give credit. That was a hell of a result. I think they were about 8-9-1 yesterday to pull off that cup shock. Cass, I know it's going to be painful for you, but as a Liverpool fan, it was actually a decent game until City opened the scoring, wasn't it? Liverpool were probably arguably the slightly better side. Are you now fearing the worst going into PSG in midweek?
Dreading it. Absolutely, David. You can't. I'm watching yesterday and I'm thinking you're absolutely right. Liverpool win a game for about 35 minutes, but when it fell apart, it dramatically fell apart afterwards. And I'm not convinced PSG will punish us. If we make mistakes like we did yesterday and give them space, especially in behind the Liverpool back line, PSG will punish you. They've got loads of pace, especially out wide and getting in behind teams.
Yeah. It was Liverpool needed half time to come when they were 1-0 down, didn't they? And it obviously it didn't, and Haaland got the second. So look, bad day for Liverpool, bad day for Arsenal. Good day for Rangers up in Scotland, Sam. We know we've got lots of listeners up in Scotland. Rangers now 11-10 to win the Scottish Premiership. Hearts 13-8, Celtic 3-1. So huge games for Celtic and Hearts today. They are both odds on to win. Hearts 1-2 to win at Livingston. Celtic 8-15 to win at Dundee. But what a Scottish title race. Cash, do you want to call this one yet?
I still think one of the big two will win it. And whether it's Rangers or Celtic, I still think they'll just bridge that gap on Hearts. But it's been an amazing year, hasn't it, in the SPL for reasons, of seeing Hearts being there for so long.
The romantic in me still wants Hearts to hold on, but
I'm up
to Glasgow in a couple of weeks, so I don't want to upset the old firm clubs too much.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Rangers winning yesterday, 66. Hearts also got 66. Celtic back on 61. Again, as you mentioned there, Hearts go to Livingston today. Celtic go to Dundee today. Another massive pivotal afternoon in the Scottish Premiership. Also, Dave, some more racing today?
Yeah, it's day 2 of the Fairy House Big Easter meeting over in Ireland. All culminating tomorrow in the Irish Grand National, which is a huge race and one definitely worth tuning in for. Ben Pauling's got a great chance of winning that, the Jukebox Kid. And the British Raiders have got a good chance in the feature race today, the Willow Warm Gold Cup off at 5 o'clock, because Fergal O'Brien sends over 6 Mile Bridge. Missed Cheltenham because the ground just went against this one, but looked really good at Sandown the time before that. So in what's been a much more interesting season between sort of the British and the Irish, the Irish could see another prize go abroad with 6 Mile Bridge this afternoon.
Dave, you're a good man. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend, mate.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers, bye-bye.
That was a look at the latest odds with Coral 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Please gamble responsibly.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Coming up next, we'll look back on a dominant Erling Haaland and Man City performance in the FA Cup against Liverpool.
Look at the fact that Chelsea have done 600 million worth of transfers in the 25-26 season and paid 65 million agents fees. Now go look at Aston Villa. Aston Villa have done 70 million worth of transfers, 57 million worth of sales, and paid 38 million pounds in agents fees. So when you look at the ratios, you go, you did 120 million worth of business and you paid 38 million, which is about 25-26%.
Right.
Chelsea have done 600 million worth of business and paid 65 million. So whilst the numbers look horrible and in the scale of things enormous, in the representative terms of what business has been done, they're not enormous. Now, then you take the losses. Chelsea got 100, however they got it and however they concocted it, they got 125 million pounds worth of profit last year. We know how they did it. They sold their women's team and a whole raft of other things.
I'm going to get to that.
So the PS, well, that was what they were allowed to do, right? And in previous times,
I agree.
In previous times, Man City and Chelsea were allowed to build football teams with impunity, and Newcastle can't. So we all are a product of timing, and we're all a product of opportunity, and we're all a product of creative outcomes based upon the circumstances that we operate in the time that we operate them in. So I look at this and go, yeah, they've made 250 million pounds of losses, right? We are, if they're not worried about it, and they believe they can cover the gap between the PSR and also the consequences of squad cap rules that they put into place, that they've got consequence on already, then that's their business.
But it's up to us to observe it. And if Chelsea are the biggest spenders on agents and the biggest spenders on transfers and have the biggest losses, how on earth can Egbali, Behdad Egbali, who you met recently, and to quote you, is one of the most impressive operators you've ever met in football?
One of the most compelling is what I said. Yeah.
Good morning. It is the weekend sports breakfast. It's Sam Ellard and Tony Cascarino with you this morning until 10 o'clock on Sunday, April the 5th. Yesterday we had 3 of our 4 FA Cup quarter-finals. The day ended with Southampton knocking out Arsenal. It was a fantastic game at St Mary's, the Championship side, who were in really, really good form, 14 unbeaten in the Championship, just outside the playoffs, knocking out the Premier League leaders Arsenal by 2-1. The quad's not on for Arsenal. The treble also is now not on for Arsenal. Before that, it was comfortable for Chelsea against the bottom side in League One, Port Vale. Chelsea 7, Port Vale 0. Just what Liam Rossini needed after a tough couple of weeks going into the international break. But the day started with Man City beating Liverpool by 4-0. Another bad afternoon, another bad performance by Liverpool. Cash, you were off on your long run, weren't you? Very early on this morning on the weekend breakfast show. Mark, the Liverpool fan, has called 03717 223344 to come on and give us his say. Mark, what did you make of it yesterday, mate? It was another bad afternoon for Liverpool.
Hi, Mark.
Well, morning Sam, morning Cass. Lovely to speak to you. This has been coming since the Newcastle game. We got beat in the final. The form to the back end of the season was terrible, and then obviously all the little quirks like going to Ibiza to enjoy his holiday, and then he comes back in, and then he's not taking any part of what's going wrong. He's just coming out with the same rhetoric in every press conference, like yesterday when he was grilled on it, and you could just see him on the back foot all the time. He's a cheat and he's a fraud. I'm sorry, we've all had enough of him now.
Ooh, harsh words there, Mark. Very harsh.
Cass, come on, mate. I go home and away with Liverpool, mate.
Yeah,
we were leaving after 2-3-0 down, and it's just getting that bad now that you're not quite even coming out the ground with a smile on your face. You're seeing the negativity, the slow football, and his tactics, and he just doesn't change. We sit back when we get a goal up, they score. You can see it coming every game.
Yeah. Look, Mark, as a Liverpool fan like yourself, absolutely disappointed, and so much has gone wrong. There isn't one problem. There's about 20 that you could literally name. Not just players, but call out what's gone wrong this year. And Liverpool have been a shadow of the team. And you're right to mention the end of last season, because I made that point earlier that Liverpool, and they started with 5 wins out the bat. And literally from there, that was misleading to every Liverpool fan.
Correct.
The narrative, Mark, was everyone was saying that's what champions do. Well, they haven't looked like champions from day one to me.
No, they haven't looked like champions since lucky they got so far ahead last season. Otherwise, if we'd have carried on like that, we wouldn't have gone anywhere near the league. And also as a fan, we always back our managers, but now it's, especially the Burnley game, he should have been gone then. It's just, honestly, you just sat there and you just see the same rubbish coming forward. And then this rhetoric in press conference. It was I think it was Ian Ladyman that got him on, and he was on the back foot about, they make 14 runs and the pressure. They're not running. And even worse, we see STK change his shirt at our time with Cherky.
Yeah. Look, let's get real now. On other stuff, PSG, I'm dreading it. I really am. I'm thinking I just can't see how we're going to do it. Look, I felt last year a bit pessimistic about the game then. I feel even less this year.
I think you're right, Tony. You think a lot of us are, we're trying to keep it down below 4 because we just don't look like we're going to score or defend properly. And they're a top class team. They're coming into form now, and it is a real worry. And I seriously think that if we get an Iden there, I think he's going to get his P45. Maybe he's out the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mark, thank you very much for calling 03717 223344. That's a passionate Liverpool supporter joining us on the weekend breakfast show. If you want to get involved, 03717 223344 is the number to call there. So a bad afternoon for Liverpool, a much better afternoon for Manchester City. Erling Haaland scoring a hat-trick. And after the game, he spoke to talkSPORT. And as you can imagine, he was happy, getting back to his best. Joining us now is the Manchester City podcaster, Nigel Rothband. Good morning, Nigel. How are you?
Nigel,
I'm well. Good to see you, Sam. Hi, Cass.
Yeah. You're probably laughing listening to the Liverpool conversation, but there was something very different about City, and it was the style of play, and obviously Haaland getting a hat trick, and I just think Semenya's been absolutely top drawer for you since he's joined the club, and he was like that at Bournemouth, by the way. But there's a different dynamic about City, isn't there?
There is, and I think if you look back to, I don't know, maybe 3 fixtures sort of stick in my mind. I mean, the Newcastle FA Cup win, that second half performance was fantastic away at Newcastle, and then, of course, only a week or so ago at Wembley against Arsenal, sort of damaging their quadruple hopes. It's got even worse since then, of course, for them. And again, the second half there, we were magnificent. And the first half hour against Liverpool, I thought it was pretty even Steven.
Yeah.
And then we got I think the fact we got the goal late in the first half and early in the second half just kind of dented any hope from them whatsoever. And you're right. I mean, you mentioned Semenya. There are so many more. I mean, Haaland, I guess, probably got man of the match because it always happens that way. But, I mean, Kusanov is fantastic. You know, Shirky, what's he been like the last couple of games as well? You've mentioned Semenyo. You know, Gahey has slotted in at the back there. And they've really fitted in. And we've, you know, that great word momentum, of course, that you have in football. City seem to be starting to put it together. Imagine if we played like those last 3 games the rest of the season, where would we have been? This is still a team in transition as well, of course. But, the last 2 or 3 games, I think we've been outstanding.
Nigel, there's been so much talk about Pep Guardiola's future sort of for so much of this season, but he looks hungry. He looks motivated. He looks determined as ever, I think, to take Man City, you know, back to the top of the Premier League. Do you think that especially if City don't win the league this season and it is Arsenal, the Pep will be, you know, tempted to stay one more year to try and end as Premier League champions maybe next season?
Listen, Sam, we've talked about this before, you and me, and Pep will decide when the right time for him to go is. You know, as far as I'm concerned, and I think lots of City fans, you know, Pep will decide. And there is a chance this could well be his last season. Whether we win 1, 2, 3 trophies, whether we only win the one, he will decide. And he can go with his head held high. What a manager he's been, what a trophy haul. What is it, 23 trips to Wembley in the last 10 years, 8 consecutive semi-finals in the FA Cup, a trophy cabinet that is bulging. He's been unbelievable,
Nigel,
and it's just been fantastic. I mean, we've had a lot of pain, as you know, as City fans over the years. Certainly, ones of my age, we've seen down in the old third tier of English football to this situation now. Pep can go on his own terms, and it might well be his last season. It might be.
Nigel, every other club fan wants him to go. I promise you. Not Man City.
Please, Pep, please.
I'd add to it. I just don't buy into him leaving this season or even considering it, because if he looks at his team and how it's developing, that would make him really excited.
It is starting to sing, isn't it? I mean, I've talked, you know, certainly early part of the season, I mentioned this all before, you know, that this team in transition, but it does, something seems to have clicked, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and you know, we can mention, you know, there's lots of other players with you know, Doku starting to have some impact on the league as well.
Performance as a young player, you know, Trafford coming in as a second keeper, doing brilliantly well.
Absolutely,
you know, there's so many. I just think he'll go, I've got to stay with this team. I've got to stay.
But he's not going to prove anything, has he, Cass? You know, he's proved he's got nothing to prove, and you know, who knows what he wants to do next. But what a joy it's been to have him there, and not on the sidelines. Of course, we had Pep 2 there doing the job next Liverpool. Which
And by the way, goodness me, I mean, Pep Linders, he you know, former players, Cass, when they score against their former sides, most of them don't celebrate. Do you think maybe assistant managers should do the same? I mean, goodness me, Pep Linders. He didn't hold back, did he? Fair play. Nigel, you mentioned lots of different players that are playing really well for City. And Cass, I'll throw you the question, but I'm not sure there's too many more players I'm enjoying watching in the Premier League at the moment than Ryan Cherky. He's such a gifted footballer, and he's got that quality, but also confidence and maybe at times a little bit of arrogance. But he's a joy to watch.
No, that was the case in France. There was criticism of him because of his, you know, not his talent, undoubtable technical ability. It was about attitude. And if they get that right, and he gets it right, he's got everything. You know, De Bruyne was an amazing footballer that just could do things on a whim, but play with purpose. This City team now are playing with purpose. They're not a possession-based team. They've gone away from that, and people like Shirky will shine.
Nigel, so much work to do, of course, still in the Premier League, 9 behind Arsenal with a game in hand, and of course Arsenal do go to the Etihad Stadium. Can you do it?
Well, we can do it. I don't think we will, Sam, to be honest. I think that ship has sailed, and I can't see Arsenal bottling it another year. I just think that there's just too much work to be done. I can't see them dropping many more points. And I just don't think it's there for us. I'd love it to happen. Wouldn't that be amazing? A domestic treble for a team in transition, and Arsenal, who were so many points ahead. I mean, it just would be amazing, wouldn't it? Because they've gone from 4 to 3 to 2. I think the Champions League this week, Paris Saint-Germain, is going to be very, very difficult. They could come to the Etihad, of course, with only the Premier League to go for, and City being their closest rivals. It's hotting up, isn't it?
What was it?
Really exciting.
It was Ted Rogers, wasn't it? 3-2-1.
Exactly. How does it go again? Yeah, I've never been able to do it. Yeah, 3-2-1.
Look at that. He's got a smile on his face, having a dig at Arsenal. City fan, confident going into the end of the season. Nigel, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Nigel Rothband there, Man City podcaster. I guess Arsenal fans will be happy to hear that they don't play PSG in the Champions League. They play Sporting in the Champions League. Arsenal, don't they, of course? Which, which makes it...
Who said PSG then?
Nigel.
Oh, did he? I didn't listen to that.
Well, I mean, some Arsenal fans might have had a cold shiver down this.
Unfortunately, Liverpool got PSG.
Yes. But yeah, Man City are through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. It was a 4-0 victory against Liverpool. Chelsea beating Port Vale comfortably 7-0, and Southampton knocking out Arsenal 2-1 late last night. The final FA Cup quarter-final is between two teams that are struggling down at the bottom of the Premier League. West Ham versus Leeds United, a 4:30 kickoff. There is live commentary this afternoon of that game right here on talkSPORT. Coming up next on the Weekend Breakfast, we're going to get our weekly top 5 with the VW Transporter.
Is it nigh on impossible, Frank, to keep a lid on the hype surrounding Moses at the moment?
No, it's not. And the Zone had a massive rating for the fight. I think it's their highest rating this year for it, so I'm told. So, you know, he's people are well aware of what it, you know, who he is and what a talent he is, and he showed that certainly on Saturday. It was a very mature, you know, performance with a very durable, tough guy. And he'd done a job. He'd done a magnificent job. And, you know, look, that's the future of boxing. He's the future of heavyweight boxing. And I'd have no problem tomorrow making him with Mr. Usyk. I'd make it in a heartbeat tomorrow.
Question, Frank, for you. I mean, we had the other day on Talk Boxing Nikisa Badarian, who I know you'll know, and he talked about, and you don't need to be taught how to manage and match fights, right? That's not what I'm making the point here. I'm sort of sense-checking what he said. His attitude was, he would, if he was managing Atomy, it'd stick him in with Andy Ruiz in Madison Square Garden, because it gives an opportunity, A, to put him in against another decent fighter to give him another learning curve, but also breaks him into America by doing something Anthony Joshua couldn't do, which is knocking out American heavyweight that has some repute. Is that got some sense in that thinking?
Sorry, who was it who said that?
Nikisa Badarian, you know, Jake Paul's promoter. And
Nikita's a very good promoter, very, you know, and he knows what he's doing. We will be going to America. That's obvious. That will happen this year, and who the opponent is, we'll see. If it's Ruiz or any, I haven't got a problem with him fighting any American fight.
A very good morning. You are listening to the Weekend Breakfast. It's Sam Ellard and the former Chelsea and Villa striker Tony Cascarino. We are with you until 10 o'clock this morning. It's time now for our top 5 with the Volkswagen Transporter.
The talkSPORT Top 5 with the Volkswagen Transporter. On a mission to change the game. Search VW Transporter.
Okay, here we go, Cass. We're doing our top 5 of the week, and this is after Bruno Fernandes was announced as the player of the month in the Premier League. It was his 6th time winning the award, tying Cristiano Ronaldo and Steven Gerrard for the 2nd most in Premier League history. It's led to many fans and pundits and journalists talking about maybe Bruno Fernandes, despite Man United not being in a title race. Is he a contender? He's surely a contender.
Yeah.
Some people think he could win the Premier League player of the season. What we're going to do, our top 5 this week, is me and you, hopefully mainly you, so you can get all the criticism in the comments on YouTube, and people texting in are going to name the top 5 that you think have got a realistic chance of winning player of the year. But just on Bruno Fernandes, I mean, just by going by numbers, 8 goals, 16 assists, could break the record this season for most assists in a Premier League season, which is 20 at the moment. Just by that fact alone, I mean, goodness me, he's a contender at the very least, isn't he?
Well, he's a contender because he's obviously Manchester United had a difficult season. That's why a manager got sacked, but he's been exceptional since Michael Carrick took the job. Would he be my number 1? No. I think he's done brilliantly well. 8 goals is not the highest he's ever got. He's got more goals in other seasons. Look, it hasn't ended. And that's one of the problems we get when we get to this time of year, Sam. We've got April. We've still got the final running. And there's big competitions to play in. And, and you look at the Premier League and the fixtures to play, that, if Declan Rice won the league, would you say Declan Rice or Raya, who have been instrumental into the season that Arsenal have had? I do think the final running counts or should count.
Do you think you have to win the Premier League to be voted the best?
No, not at all. No, you don't have to, but it's got to play some sort of part if you've been exceptional, in your in that season. So if we looked at players outside who probably wouldn't win the Premier League, I would say Semenya, great chance, but then he wouldn't have won it with what he did at Bournemouth was exceptional. His goal return, what's he got? 15 Premier League goals? 15? And he's turned up at City and, shown some of the way he played for Bournemouth.
Only Haaland and Igor Thiago have got more goals.
Yeah, Thiago's done fantastic at Brentford.
I was going to say, I think it's quite easy when you're naming the 5 just to go for players that are either top of the league or competing. And I'll get you to name your 5, but I wanted to mention Igor Thiago. For me, I think Brentford have been, when you look at the league table and you look at teams that are punching above their weight, you could argue maybe Brentford are doing that, maybe apart from Sunderland, better than anybody else.
Yeah.
I think Igor Thiago has been key to that. 19 Premier League goals this season for Brentford, who many people tip to get relegated, is a serious effort. So I would love to have him as one of my 5. Bruno Fernandes.
I could see that Thiago would be there, but he's in an unfashionable club. And look, Ekitike started brilliantly, but would he make my top 5? No. I think he's been a great signing for Liverpool. Szoboszlai, I think you could make a point of he has easily been Liverpool's best player this season. Would you have him in there? Yeah, I would. I would have him in there, but I wouldn't have him to win it. I think if you're looking at candidates to win it, I would certainly look at Rice. But again, how their season finished. I think Raya, like I mentioned, Arsenal goalkeeper. I would probably add in, who else will I say?
I think Gabriel. For me, there's I would say Arsenal 2 best, Rice and Gabriel for me.
Yeah. After that, it's a tight one. I'm thinking of all the clubs. I think Morgan Rogers at Villa. He's had an outstanding season. Done brilliantly well. Was it enough? But he still had a great season.
Again, he maybe has fallen just a little bit
towards the end. But he still had a great season.
What makes this year quite different, I think, to 9 times out of 10, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, the team that wins the league has a guy
maybe 2 or 3
25 goals, and you think it's maybe. But what I think is interesting about Arsenal is, again, you mentioned there 4 or 5 players, Raya, Gabriel, Rice, Supermendy, who have all kind of been really, really good on the same kind of level.
Okay, say if Manchester City won the league.
Okay.
And Bernardo Silva, by the way, is another one you should mention. If they won the league and them players like Bernardo Silva and Semenya, if they had massive impact in towards the end of the season, went on a run of 5 or 6 goals, you'd say,
I think Semenya's a great shout because what he did at Bournemouth and then backed it up at Man City.
I would argue that it does matter if you win the league because you've been instrumental in the best team.
Right, Cass. You've mentioned lots of names. We do need a top 5.
Oh, right, okay.
You can go in order if you like, sort of 1, 2, 3 in the voting, and then you can throw in 2 honourable shouts as well if you like. No pressure.
Well, I'll go from who I think number 1 and number 2. I think Semenya and Rice. my 2, 1 and 2. How that pans out, who would win it, I don't know, because I would still love to have the choice at the end of the season. Because I think, like I talked about Semenyo and Rice, I think they've been important. I think Ray has been instrumental to Arsenal's season. The amount of saves he's pulled off, I think he's only made one mistake all season. So there, I would have thrown in a curveball with someone like Thiago. Okay. I would have definitely done that. So who else after that?
We said we put Bruno Fernandez in the
Bruno, Bruno would be there. Definitely Bruno would be there, but I wouldn't have him as my winner. Mm-hmm. But there's the 5 that I would name, and then look, there's other players we could name that have done brilliantly well. It's always a tough gig because I hate the fact that you have to make these decisions in April.
It just seems ridiculous to the fact that the real crunch time of the season almost doesn't have any bearing on who wins the Player of the Year.
The run-in with what? 6-7 games to go.
It's important, right?
It's extremely important.
Yeah. Okay, Cass, good stuff. Just checking the texts already. He hasn't mentioned. Oh, Cass, you're getting pelters. I'll read some of them out after 9 o'clock.
Well, here, I haven't mentioned.
You can't name every player in the Premier League.
Mark Gay.
Yeah, Mark Gay here.
Done brilliant at Palace.
Yeah. You want to throw one more in there? Yeah. That was thanks to Volkswagen Transporter.
The talkSPORT Top 5 with the Volkswagen Transporter on a mission to change the game. Search VW Transporter.
Now it's time for this.
The talkSPORT 20k giveaway.
It's competition time now, and it is a belter. Just imagine what you do with £20,000. That's right, 20 big ones, because talkSPORT are giving one lucky listener the chance to bag 20 grand completely tax-free. Don't miss your chance to win this huge amount of money. Here is how to enter. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines closed the 9th of April at 4 o'clock. That's when you need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win £20,000, text WIN to 83338 right now. And you are listening to The Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT.
Pedro.
Partnership with Volkswagen Transporter. Any more?
When we look at the end of the season, let's talk about the title race and the run-in. Manchester City and Arsenal going head-to-head. Arsenal, obviously, in the prime seat right now. They've got Bournemouth at home, City away, Newcastle and Fulham at home, a trip to West Ham before they host Burnley and have Palace on the final day. One extra game to be played by Manchester City. They're away at Chelsea. This isn't this weekend, of course. They're both playing in the FA Cup, but when the Premier League does return, Manchester City will be away at Chelsea. They'll host Arsenal. They're away at Burnley and Everton. They're at home to Brentford, away at Bournemouth, and then 2 home games to end the season against Villa and Palace. When you look at the run-ins, who do you favour?
Arsenal. I think they've got a better run-in, and from Arsenal's point of view, if they can't get that done, I'll be shocked. Yeah. I'll be shocked. I think they've been brilliant all season in terms of the way they've managed games, the way they've won games. Going back to that, they've just won games. They haven't been brilliant on the eye at times. Who cares in their camp? Who cares in that dressing room? Just get it done. And now when I'm looking at the run-in, that is a favourable run-in for Arsenal. They've got the Manchester City game.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know. Well, here's the tale. Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tenez, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with: cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impacts with the racket. The call of "new balls please" seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish, and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point: the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
A very good morning. This is the Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. I'm Sam Ellard, and with me is the former Milwall and Gillingham striker Tony Cascarino. FA Cup Saturday was full of goals and drama. Starting at the Etihad, Man City put 4 past Liverpool to cruise to the semi-finals.
Doku coming inside, found O'Reilly, the angle is tight, he's knocked it square, and Haaland has a hat-trick. Liverpool are being utterly dismantled.
Elsewhere, FA Cup magic for Southampton.
Fellows to come into the penalty area, charge with a shot! Southampton lead again! And that may well be the goal that takes the Saints into the semi-final.
Yes, Southampton beating Arsenal last night to get to the last 4. One more FA Cup quarter-final today. West Ham hosts Leeds. West Ham head coach Nuno Espirito Santo knows it won't be easy. And if you want to get involved in the show this morning, the lines are very much open. 03717 223344. Get involved and have your say on the Weekend Sports Breakfast. We're on talkSPORT. But now to the world of boxing and the big heavyweight showdown last night. Chisora Wilder at the O2.
And now London, let the world hear you. It's time for our main event of the evening.
Big right hand from Chisora. Wilder felt that. Oh, it's 3 massive right hands from Wilder. How on earth did Chisora stay upright?
Your winner by split decision, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder.
So Derek Chisora suffered a points defeat to Deontay Wilder in a pretty wild heavyweight contest at the O2 Arena last night. What was expected to be his final professional bout. He was dropped in the 8th and sent through the ropes. He looked close to being stopped, I thought, several times as Wilder pushed for the finish. He somehow fought his way back, but Wilder was awarded a split decision with scores 115 to 111, 115 to 113, while one judge scored it 115, 112 to Chisora. Delighted to say that talkSPORT's Man of Boxing, the great Adam Capture, with us in the studio. Of course, there last night. Adam, good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. Very well, boys. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Good, thank you. What did you make of it? Did it live up to the pre-match hype and excitement?
Well, you just said the word there, wild. It was, wasn't it? It was wild from start to finish. I think we are looking at two gentlemen here that are shadows of their former selves. We're not talking about two lads that are in their primes. Both entering their 50th professional contests, and with that comes a lot of damage and a lot of miles on the clock. I think that showed in the contest last night. It was a little bit messy. I think if you look up the word slobber knocker in the dictionary, you'll see the faces of these two gentlemen.
You're making up words now.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was a slobber knocker. I don't think it was helped with maybe some of the officiating as well. That was a little bit messy. But all in all, last night was really about celebrating a career, really, from Derek Chisora's point of view, the perennial Neely man, the guy that has been in with everybody. Okay, he hasn't beaten everybody, but he's been in with everybody. He's always given us value for money. He's always given us entertainment. And to an extent last night, I think it was there, and I'm just glad that he got the opportunity to be in front of that O2 crowd last night and feel some of that love that they have for him.
See, Adam, Deontay Wilder has been a bit of an enigma, hasn't he? Because his fight record of, a lot of fights, very few losses, loads of knockouts, nearly everybody he fought he knocked out to a certain degree, apart from Tyson Fury. What did you make of him? Because he's 2 years younger than Derek.
Yeah. I think, though, that Fury trilogy has taken an awful lot from Deontay Wilder. I think last night there were certain moments when he's in the fight with Derek, and the old Deontay Wilder's pulling the trigger. He's lining him up with the left hand, which he never... I know that he clipped Tyson Fury in that final round of the first fight with his left hand, but normally he lines you up with the left and then that big long right comes in and that's good night, as you've just pointed out. And there were several occasions last night where Derek was there. He was ready to be hit with that right hand, and he just did not pull the trigger. And when you get to that stage of your career, when you're second guessing yourself in your mind, then you've got to really start asking yourself, do you continue with your career? But as we all know, gentlemen, there's a lot of money in this game at the moment.
Yeah.
When you're a name like Deontay Wilder, I'm sure there's a few people throwing a few quid at you. For me, I looked at him last night and he was absolutely a shadow of his former self. He won. There's no question that he won the fight. But personally, if I'm his advisors, I'd say maybe it's now time for you as well.
Well, we saw it against Joseph Parker, didn't we? When he fought Joseph Parker, that what you're talking about, where you think he's going to throw the big punch, and he doesn't, he holds back.
Yeah, he is. And you speak to professionals about it, and they will talk to you about legs, whether the strength in the legs, whether he's getting around the ring, whether he's planting himself properly, and then he's having the confidence in order to then throw the shot. Listen, I'm not a professional fighter, so I don't know. I just think he's second-guessing himself in those particular moments, because if we go back to that trilogy with Fury, in particular the second fight and third fight, they were brutal fights. That second one, Deontay Wilder went into that fight undefeated in 43.
Yeah.
And as you've just said, he's knocked out 42 of them lads. So he's always thought to himself, I'll get him before he gets me. Fury went into that second fight and bullied him. He absolutely massacred him that night, and he took a little bit of something from him. He came back in the third fight and had a good go, did Deontay, but not winning, I think, has really stolen something from him. You mentioned Parker, Zhang as well. He went into that fight and he came up short. I just don't think the old Bronze Bomber, he's one of them guys that used to create this alter ego, this external character in order to get into fight mode to then go and be able to do his thing. I don't think the Bronze Bomber exists anymore. Deontay Wilder's still there, lovely fella, but the Bronze Bomber, the guy that goes in the ring and detonates on people, I don't think he exists anymore.
Is there an opponent for him? Where you'd go, look, one more go, there's an opponent, because it feels like he's a level down from the main guys.
Yeah.
Now.
listen, you're going to think I'm daft saying this. He was in attendance last night. I know what fight they're going to make. They're going to make the Anthony Joshua fight.
Right.
Personally, I don't want to see it because I think Anthony Joshua would have a field day with him, and that's probably why they're going to make that fight. If I'm Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua sat there ringside last night watching that, I'm licking my chops because there's an opportunity, one, to make a boatload of dough, and two, Wilder's still got the name, still got the accolades within the sport, so therefore you can add that to the resume, of which then builds you back towards the Tyson Fury fight that I think everybody wants to see.
On Chisora, is he actually done? And if so, how will he be remembered in the world of boxing?
Have you met Derek?
I met him once. I interviewed him once, and it was one of the most crazy experiences of my life.
Well, they're both pretty lively in an interview, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
We've learned.
Listen, Derek, I hope he's done because he's nothing left to prove. As we saw last night, his family were in attendance, his missus and his kids, and he's created such a beautiful life for himself. But as any fighter will tell you, it's very hard when that fire just keeps burning. That's who he is. That's how he identifies. He identifies himself as a fighter. I hope that he's done. Come back in a month. Let's see what type of noise he's making on 2 months' time when he's been at home for 2 months doing the school runs or whatever.
He's bored.
He might come up with a different thought process, but I hope he's done. I think every fan thinks that as well. How will he be remembered? I think a guy that never gave up. You know, I mean,
and fought everybody.
Oh, listen, you look at the resume and it looks a bit daft on it. Especially in modern boxing when you've got 36 wins, I think it's 14 losses on there. But you look at the 14 losses, 13 of those guys that he's lost against have all held a version of the world title. Yeah. He's been in with the very best guys. He fought Vitaly Klitschko, what, in 2012, was it? He's just never given up. He's given all the fans bang for the buck. And he's an amazing story in boxing because if you remember in and around that time when he was fighting David Hay and we had the metal fence in between him at West Ham and all that, he was disliked. He was a disliked character in this sport. He has managed to flip it completely on his head to now become a little bit of a folk hero. So I hope he feels that and I hope he can find some type of peace in this particular moment. But it is Derek, so I'm expecting something a bit mad in 2 weeks' time.
You said 2 months of score runs.
Yeah.
I give it 2 weeks of score
fair
runs.
Play.
And then
you might be right.
And then we see the return of Derek Chisora. You mentioned AJ, who was there last night. We know it's obviously been got an awful, horrible couple of months for AJ with his close friends passing away a couple of months ago. But I think boxing fans, sports fans, everybody really put a smile on their face seeing AJ turn up there last night with Eddie Hearn.
Do you know something? It was beautiful because I think seeing AJ walk out in the O2 Arena, seeing the love that people have for AJ was a really heartwarming thing for everybody in boxing. And I hope that Anthony felt that as well. He has been through a tough time. You're absolutely right. And I don't think anybody wants him to step in the ring if he's not 100% there mentally. We want him to be as close to 100% as possible when he does eventually step back into competition. I think working with Alexander Usyk, as he has been doing it in camp, has been absolutely fantastic for him. There was a good glow about AJ last night. Of course, he's still dealing with trauma. That's never going to leave him. But hopefully he's getting to a place now where we can start realistically talking about him competing again.
Yep, let's hope so. Fingers crossed. So last night, a good night of boxing. We move quickly on to next weekend, don't we? Because Tyson Fury is in action at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium taking on Makhmudov. What sort of fight are we expecting here? What sort of challenge is Tyson Fury waiting next week?
Well, Tyson Fury, before he retired for the 5th time, it's a straightforward fight. This opponent's absolutely made for him. He doesn't move too well. Makhmudov, he can hit a bit, of course, and he's a tough fella, but Tyson Fury of a couple of years ago would walk through this fella. There's no doubt in my mind about that. The big question is where's Tyson Fury at right now? He's been out for 16, 17 months now. So if he's anywhere near what Tyson Fury was, Tyson Fury wins this fight at the weekend. But of course, it's heavyweight boxing. That time is crucial, especially at this stage of his life and career. And it could be a banana skin. I'm not anticipating a banana skin, but I'm anticipating, hopefully, we see a few glimpses of the old Tyson Fury.
So when it was announced that AJ was fighting Jake Paul, and obviously, this is a fight here that Tyson Fury are expecting to win. Do you think that, kind of looking back a couple of months, that the plan was AJ gets a victory under his belt, Tyson Fury gets a victory under his belt, and then finally, in 2026, we will see AJ Fury. Is that still a fight that you think we're going to see?
Yeah, listen, obviously, it was a tragedy what happened with Anthony at the back end of last year, and his friends and all those people that are connected to that. I think that this fight that we're talking about right now would have been Anthony Joshua versus
right now. Okay.
I think we'd have been in that situation right now. I think we're at that stage now where people are talking and they seem to be on the right page. I think most people will conclude at this stage of their career, it's the fight, it's the only fight. That's what we want.
Do you still think there's the lust for it in this country, or do you think because a couple of? I still think I agree with you. I still think that because I'm not a boxing purist by any stretch of the imagination. But if you told me right now that at some point in the summer we're getting AJ Fury, I'd be absolutely buzzing.
When you're talking about within boxing, it's not as big as it could have been because it could have been the undisputed championship of the world
5 years ago.
Oh yeah, it could have been. It could have been that, and we could have had 2 or 3 of them. So you know, but this fight needs to happen to put a bow on this era. This is something that we've spoken about for such a long period of time. I think it'd be an absolute travesty for British fight fans if they never got to see it. And also, 10, 15 years' time, when these two lads are sat on a beach somewhere enjoying all the dough that they've made, they'll sit back and they'll go, should have done that.
Yeah.
Should have done that because we could have had another 50 million at bank. You know what I mean? So I hope that everybody can get to that stage. We've been here on many occasions, haven't we, where we're trying to...
Well, you had Pacquiao and Mayweather for years, and they fought at the wrong end of their careers, didn't they?
Exactly. And even this particular fight, and you've just been speaking about Wilder, there's been many times where they tried to set up semi-finals in boxing to then, all right, they're going to do this, they're going to win this, and then we're going to go there. But then Wilder gets beat off Joseph Parker, and therefore that derails an Anthony Joshua fight. Just make fights when they're right to make them.
Yeah.
This should be evidence of that for all promoters and all television broadcasters out there. Let's not try to navigate stories here. Just make them when they're hot. That fight was hot, like you said, 5 years ago. I still think there's a lot in it right now, and fingers crossed we get to see it at some point in 2026.
Get it done. The talkSPORT team in good spirits last night?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm working with Gareth A. Davies, mate. He's mad as a box of frogs, isn't he? So, yeah, he's always in good spirits, legging it around. I'll tell you one thing. Last night there was a lot of famous faces not from the world of boxing that came out last night. That just goes to prove how much Derek Chisora has resonated. And
the most famous name you saw last night?
Spencer Oliver.
Adam Cattrall.
Well, Noel Gallagher was in attendance last night.
Okay, that's
I'm a
pretty.
big Oasis
that's pretty
fan,
big,
so Noel Gallagher was in attendance last night. There was a few knocking about. Gareth A. Davies seemed obsessed with Nigel Farage. He was.
okay.
He was also there last night.
Gareth A. Davies interviewing Nigel Farage.
That would have been something.
would make for interesting radio.
I had 5 hours in a car in France with Gareth A. Davies. He came over and we ended up in a car together. From Nancy up to Calais.
You survived? Well,
well, I did, but I weren't sure who was the maddest of the two by the time we got there.
I think we need to dedicate the rest of the show where you tell us everything that happened in the car between you and Gareth A. Davies.
There have been some conversations, let me tell you.
Yeah. Adam, thank you so much as always. Thanks for joining us in the studio. Great work last night. And again, if you love your boxing, I really do recommend you go over to the award-winning talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. It's the best place for all of the latest news, reaction, breaking news in the world of boxing. And of course, up on that channel, the very best reaction to that fight last night. Adam, thank you very much. You are listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT in partnership with Volkswagen Transporter. Search VW Transporter to find out more. Up next, look ahead to a busy day tomorrow in the world of the Championship.
Thomas Tuchel's thrown Foden's World Cup hopes into doubt with some comments that he made to the media, Gabby. Here's an interesting one. He was excellent in camp, but he struggles to show it on the pitch. He was so good in training, and I thought he will just surprise us. But yeah, he struggles to have the full impact. It was put to Tuchel that he could not take a struggling player to the World Cup. I can, he replied, but the question would be if we will. It's not a guarantee that he will come. Now, to be fair to Phil Foden, I think there's only about 5 or 6, well, maybe 5 or 6, but there'll be more, about a dozen guarantees.
Yeah.
But there'll be about maybe 6, 7, 8 that aren't guarantees. And I think Phil Foden has now come into that category, Gab. I mean, we've got to be concerned for him, don't you agree?
I think the problem for me, Ali, is that his form for Manchester City has been incredibly bad for Phil Foden. You know, he come on in the 90th minute, Ali, in the cup final against Arsenal. Got 0 minutes in both games against Real Madrid.
I know, mate.
In his last 11 games, Ali, he's only played a total of 183 minutes out of 990 available minutes. 0 goals this year. We're already in April, Ali.
Yeah.
And even for his country, Ali, he's not performed. He's only got 4 goals in 49 England caps. He should be at his peak now at 25. Never done it in an England shirt. And those comments from Thomas Tuchel, I look at them and I'll say, Thomas Tuchel likes you. He likes the career you've had. He likes you as a player. He's brought you into the squad, even though you didn't deserve to be in it from club form. And you look like, at the moment, it sounds like a training ground player. Weekend Sports Breakfast, Sam Ellard and Tony Cascarino. Should we just go straight to Matt, the Southampton fan, and he can maybe sing this song, Matt? Beating Arsenal into the FA Cup semi-finals. The Saints are going to Wembley. Morning, mate. How are you?
Hello.
Oh, Matt, I tell you
Hello,
what, Matt.
Oh, you got us.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Mark. It's not Matt, it's Mark.
It's Mark. Mark, the Southampton fan. Apologies. Mark, I hope that hasn't ruined your mood this morning. You still must be in a pretty good mood this morning, right?
Oh, no, I am in an amazing mood. It was just, honestly, it just epitomised what the Cup was last night.
Yeah.
No word of, I mean, I've got to be honest, when we were going to the game, and Saints are in real good form, but to go and beat Arsenal, the top of the league, and they were top of the Champions League standings as well prior to the, to the knockout stages. I mean, we're in dreamland. I mean, just absolute dreamland. But what I will say is this: the Arsenal players did not like our players running at them. I don't know what was going on, and it was just like, because Cienza was having a go and Fellows, they just didn't know what to do with them, which for us is absolutely outstanding. And the Arsenal fans as well, they were in full voice for about 25 minutes. And obviously after 35 minutes when we scored, they went quiet. It was like so quiet. And then they started singing again when they equalised. And then they went quiet. It was just, I don't know. I mean, for us, it was just amazing. It was just a fantastic night. And it just, it felt like when we did the playoffs and we beat West Brom, and it was the atmosphere at St Mary's was just something else. But
Mark,
yeah,
enjoy the day. Thank you so much for your call. It was an incredible evening, an incredible night for Southampton. You want to get your calls in between now and 10 o'clock. 03717 223344 is the number to call. Southampton back to Championship business next week. As are, well, all the teams. We've got a full fixtures, don't be cast tomorrow in the Championship on Bank Holiday Monday. Delighted to say the former Ipswich defender, captain. He's a legend there, over 350 appearances. Luke Chambers joins us now. And I guess, guys, there's relegation to play for, there's top 6 to play for, and very much top 2 to play for. We know Coventry got a big lead at the top of the table. It's then Millwall on 2nd on 72, Borough in 3rd on 71, Ipswich in 4th on 69. But Ipswich have got 2 games in hand. Next up for Ipswich is Birmingham at home tomorrow. Luke, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us. I mean, this is going to go right down to the wire, isn't it? It's so evenly poised all across the Championship table, really, mate. Morning.
Morning, guys. Yeah, it's massive, right? It's top and bottom of the league is just going to be huge. We've got 6 games left for Millwall, like you say, in the top 2, but Ipswich have 8 games left. I think it's just going to go all the way. I think in between now and the end of the season, Ipswich themselves have got Saturday, Tuesday after this weekend. So it's going to be a real tough ask for them. And I think everyone's made their assumptions that Ipswich Town have the best and most in-depth squad available than any other team in the Championship, and it's certainly going to be tested between now and the end of the season.
Luke, I was lucky enough to be at Ipswich versus Milwall, which I thought was a classic game. Ipswich definitely the better team in the first half. Milwall come back and could have nicked it. I was at Borough against Millwall again, and a terrific game. I just really enjoyed the Championship games because I felt like jeopardy was there the whole time, and we saw it a bit last night. I know it was a cup tie with Southampton, but some really great games around in the Championship.
Oh, yeah, especially the last few weeks, Cash, you're right. I think every time these teams now, every single game seems to have something off it. And I think the last couple of years there's been teams like Burnley who've run away with things, and the top 2 have seemed to have been by far and away clear between this sort of Easter period and the end of the season. So it's really, really hotting up now. But like I said, both ends of the table. And you mentioned Millwall there. No one's been speaking about them, but they are there to stay. I covered the game against Middlesbrough, away at Middlesbrough this weekend, and they were just fantastic in that second half. Middlesbrough were by far the best team in the first half, but they haven't been able to take their chances. And that's what's really causing them concern now, between dropping out of that top 2 for the first time in a long, long time, because they've occupied those 2 top spaces for the majority of the season, more than anyone else, actually, even more than Coventry. So for Millwall now, but Ipswich having those 2 games in hand is absolutely massive psychologically. But it's that old question, would you rather have the points in your pocket or be chasing someone down?
Well, I can also add in the atmospheres in the stadium as well, because rock and roll it was at Middlesbrough, 31,000 there, and Millwall sold out tomorrow against Norwich, and Ipswich would sold out against Millwall, and it feels like that top end of the table fighting for that playoff place or automatic. It's just made so much jeopardy in either side of the whether it's the top or the bottom of the Championship.
Oh yeah, it's enormous. And like the brand of the EFL is growing year on year out now, and you're going across the pond with all these famous owners coming in, the American owners as well, especially. It's really bringing an experience to games. I think there's been at times over the last few years where it has been a little bit flat and teams don't feel that they can compete. But I think we're going all the way down to 8th or 9th in the Championship now, that who can make it into those playoffs as well. And another story is Wrexham going there. You're not just talking about the top 2 selling out their stadiums. It's every single team at the moment, especially in that top half, because everyone still feels that they can achieve something. And I think this year it's been the closest run-in that I can remember in the last however long, and that's including at the bottom, especially with some huge clubs like you've got Leicester's and West Brom's that are down there as well. So Portsmouth are huge. Again, Ipswich have got them as one of their games in hand on a Tuesday night as well. It's not going to be an easy place to go. They're scrapping for their lives as well.
Look, I was literally about to ask you, going down to the bottom. By the way, tomorrow it's Portsmouth-Oxford, 21st versus 23rd. So Oxford got 40, Leicester 40, Portsmouth 41. West Brom are on a decent run. They're unbeaten in their last 5 games. They're on 44, so 4 clear of Leicester in the final relegation spot. And I guess, Luke, talking about the competitiveness of the Championship, I know Leicester have had a points deduction, but the fact that West Brom and Leicester are down there fighting, potentially both in League One next season, just shows how strong and competitive this Championship season is this year.
And it is, and I think it shows, especially with Leicester coming down, you can't just expect to be the best team. You can't just expect your reputation to carry you through. The Championship becomes an enormous leveller, and you have to be able to handle the pressure. And yeah, regardless of their sort of 6-point deduction, they'd still be in and around it, looking over their shoulders. So it isn't just all down to that. But it shows you the size of the clubs. And we covered Oxford again on Friday, and they've seemed to have turned a corner under Matt Bloomfield. They looked all but finished down there, but they're on a decent run. They put in a real good performance again against Hull, who again were trying to chase that top 2 space. So they're going to go into that with a lot of confidence, and Portsmouth is just going to be a huge game. Like we said, every single game at the minute, it seems to be so much on, and it's how we want it to be.
And Luke, before I let you go, I know you spent many, many years at Ipswich, but also had, what, five years? I'm sure you look back at it pretty fondly at Nottingham Forest, making over 200 appearances. What do you reckon then? Vitor Pereira, he's come in, steady the ship, and I guess that victory at Spurs before that international break, so important, wasn't it?
Well, that seems quite a long time ago now, doesn't it? What a massive game again that was, but credit to them coming out there. And I think that sort of plays into their style of play that they've had over the last couple of seasons when they've been successful, sucking teams on, hitting them on the break, being ruthless on the counter-attack. And that's what Forest have got in the locker. But they seem to have turned a little bit of a corner, got a massive game this week against Porto. So again, that's something that maybe just keeps their mind off that Premier League pressure at the moment. But they're looking over their shoulders now. They've got 3-point gap, but they've got some big games coming up. I think they've got Burnley coming as well. So 2 home games in a row. They're going to be looking to try and take as many points as they can, because they've got some difficult away games like Chelsea, Man United as well between now and the end of the season.
Look, you're a good man. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you can, try and enjoy the games tomorrow.
Cheers, Luke.
Cheers, boys. Have a good one.
Luke Chambers, Ipswich legend, also spent a few years in Nottingham Forest. Cass, get your pen and paper out, because I've got some important information to tell everybody about. We have got everything covered tomorrow. Bank holiday Monday, talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2, well and truly the home of the EFL. We start Portsmouth Oxford, 12:30 kickoff right here on talkSPORT. That's 21st versus 23rd. Then at 3 o'clock, Ipswich versus Birmingham is on talkSPORT 2, 3 o'clock kickoff. Ipswich 3 points behind Millwall, do have 2 games in hand. Of course, got lots of games at 3 o'clock. Then at 5:30, Swansea versus Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough start the day in third, 1 point behind Millwall. And then at 8 o'clock, it is Hull versus Coventry. That game is a talkSPORT exclusive. Coventry, 83 points. They are 12 clear of third place Middlesbrough. Hull City themselves still got work to do to guarantee themselves a place in the playoffs. They're 5th in the Championship. Just 4 points ahead, though, of Southampton in 7th place, who have got a game in hand. talkSPORT is well and truly your home of the EFL.
All right, Cundy.
Hello, matey.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm okay, yeah.
Gone well?
Yes, so for those that don't know, the hair transplant last Thursday.
Yep.
A couple of days off.
Yeah.
Back in today.
You're looking well, mate. You look well.
So far.
You look hard.
Well, well, the head's been shaved, right? So there's always got the image, haven't you? Like of a bit of a thug.
Yeah, you look like you're going to be on like Football Factory or something.
Yeah. But look, it went well. It's such a weird process. I mean, you're in the chair for about 8.5 hours. It's all done.
I mean, that's hell for you, right? You can't.
Oh, mate. Well, they gave me. I fell asleep halfway through it. They gave me sedatives. Yes, I struggle to sit still, mate. But
struggle.
I struggle to sit.
Impossible.
Still. Yes, but they're sedatives, mate. They work their magic. But here we go. So the big.
Mate, I like it.
Well, we'll see. It's
the new Cundy.
The new version.
The new version of.
New improved. Don't know about that.
It looks all right, mate. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, well, look, big shout out to the Wimpole Clinic. Thank you very much for what they did. And we'll see the results, mate, over the next coming 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
You've got to have a haircut, man. What's the haircut look? What's the trim? You got
Don't know.
a quiff?
Don't know what I'm going to go for, mate.
You look all right with the old skin.
Listen, I'm not having a hair transplant and then looking like this.
No?
I'm not. No, you don't have a hair transplant and shave
It's
your
all
head.
right, though.
Well, for the time being, I've got no choice. I've got no choice. This is how it's going to be. All right, so there you go.
You're making me die.
Yeah, it's a bit. I mean, did it hurt? Obviously, during the operation, it's very weird, or during the procedure,
Yeah.
very weird, mate. There was one at the back, so I had 3 people working on my head at one time, and I couldn't feel it, but I could feel them. It's a bit like when you had the anaesthetic in a dentist. You know, someone's working on doing something,
Yeah.
but you can't really feel it.
Weekend Sports Breakfast. We are on talkSPORT. It's Sam Ellard and Tony Cascarino with you until 10 o'clock this morning. The Grand Nationals next week. Cass, are you a man for horse racing? Are you excited?
Yeah, I am, but I'm just a bit of fun. Have a little bit of fun, that's all.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can have fun as well by enjoying complete coverage of the Grand National Festival from Aintree on Racing TV, the only channel showing every race live. Don't miss a second of the action at Aintree and join Racing TV with a 60% saving now. Head to racingtv.com/talksport and hurry as the offer ends Sunday the 12th of April. So to celebrate, Racing TV are also giving away 4 tickets to the jump finale at Sandown Park and a 1-year subscription to the channel. Go to talksport.com/win to enter. It's 18+. T's and C's apply. Now, Man City, Chelsea and Southampton are in the FA Cup semi-final. 1 more place is up for grabs this afternoon as West Ham host Leeds. talkSPORT have got live commentary, of course, this afternoon. It is a 4:30 kickoff. Both sides, of course, not too far away, are they, from each other in the Premier League table. West Ham 18th in the final relegation spot on 29 points. Leeds 4 ahead of them in 15th on 33 points. Leeds have lost 3 of their last 4 away games at West Ham in all competitions, and Leeds United have been eliminated from 16 of their last 18 FA Cup ties against Premier League opposition. Delighted to say we can discuss this game with a man who's played for both clubs. It's Brian Dean. Good morning, Brian. How are you, mate?
Hi, Brian.
Morning, guys. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Well, you have played for both clubs, but you played a lot more for Leeds, so I'm assuming Leeds is your... Well, Sheffield United, I actually think, is your club, isn't it, Brian? Is it more about Sheffield United or Leeds?
Well, I'd say both. I kind of get asked the question all the time, but you know, I'm a Leeds boy. I live here in Leeds, so I was born here. So definitely today, anyway. Unfortunately, I'm well and truly behind Leeds.
So tell us, Brian, what have you made of this season? Because they've got a lot of decent results, probably too many draws, but Leeds have felt competitive in a lot of games this season.
Yeah, I think what people fail to realise is when you get promoted, you know, when you go out and recruit, you can't recruit in the same places as some of the teams that are established. So I think some of the guys that have come in have done really well, to be honest. I mean, it was a surprise to me because I'd never heard of half of them. So to see what they've done, and also the fact that, you know, they got Dominic Calvert-Lewin in on a free and he's scored goals. So I think, you know, they've done as well, perhaps, as to be expected. And I think the main goal is to stay up this year and then try and kick on from there. So I think they've done well. You know, when I've been down there, they've certainly been competitive. So, you know, I hope they can stay up.
I mean, the idea at the start of the season was a more physical approach, wasn't it? They signed a lot of big players physically, which has made a big impact because they've had, in the Championship, they had pace, didn't they? If you look at players like Daniel James and others that were quick, but not the biggest.
Yeah, look, I mean, for me, you've got to be able to compete physically anyway, and perhaps, you know, when you talked about just then Leeds being quick in the Championship, it's a different level when you get in the Premier League. You know, I was saying at the beginning of the season, you know, Dan James was flying past fullbacks, but it's, you know, the fullbacks in the Premier League are totally different, and I think perhaps, hopefully, the recruitment will go along those lines where they're looking at physical and quick players, because you can't do anything without pace in the Premier League. It's just impossible to get behind teams. So I think for me, it looks as though they're kind of saying, right, okay, let's try and get to the end of the season, and hopefully we'll have a better budget to go out and recruit a better type of player for the Premier League.
And just on West Ham, look, there's obviously still a lot of work to do, isn't there, to get out of the bottom three. They're a point behind Tottenham. The next game in the Premier League is home to Wolves on Friday night, a game that is live on talkSPORT. How much credit do you have to give Nuno Espirito Santo for the work that he's done? You know, he came in with them in really, really bad form, and they picked up lots of points since he's come in. Have they got enough quality, do you think, domestically in the Premier League, Brian, to get above Spurs or Nottingham Forest or even Leeds, I guess?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's not an elephant in the room, is it? Tottenham, and I think that a lot the teams down there have certainly been buoyed by what's been going on. It's a very public kind of fallout down at Spurs, and I think that's helped a lot of the teams in and around the Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and Leeds to say, look, you know, they're dropping like a stone. I think you have to give Nuno a lot of credit because, you know, he's come in, he's had 3 or 4 of the teams down there, and he's always been able to make his teams compete. So I feel that, you know, they're playing a type of football now that, you know, it's difficult. It's the same type of thing where you're only be able to recruit at a certain level. But if he can keep them up, it'll be a hell of an achievement.
Yeah. Brian, what are you up to these days? Because you obviously see you around every now and again. So what are you doing? Corporate, bit of corporate.
Sorry,
a bit of corporate at the football clubs.
No, not really. You know, now and again, I'm not sort of like, I don't need football. I love my football. Don't get me wrong, but I want to try and do different things, and I do a little bit of consultancy stuff abroad. That's a lot. That's too long a story for this. I'm enjoying kind of traveling, and I think sometimes when you look at what we do as ex-footballers, we always retain being competitive. And, you know, I think for me, what I want to do is I'm saying, look, you know, I was a footballer, I'm not a footballer. What else can I try and be good at now? You know, having had the platform that football has given me. So I kind of do a little bit of that. It's more about some of the experiences that I've had in life where, you know, I'm using the networks and learning how to deal with people on a business level, to be in those rooms and perhaps sell myself to a degree. The other thing is I've got 2 young children and my wife's a lecturer, so I do a lot of the school runs, and that's really fulfilling because, you know, when I kind of skipped a generation. A lot of my friends have got kids who are in their 20s and 30s now. And the first thing they said is, Brian, it goes really fast. So I enjoy going to do the school runs, holding my kids' hands. And, you know, especially now I'm getting old, you know, it's something to remember.
You sound like a great dad, Brian.
And you're looking good, Brian. You're not looking old, I promise you that, mate. I promise you that.
Well, I do play a lot of paddle as well.
Oh, who doesn't, right?
You know, I see some of the guys and I'm like, I'll be taking some souls if I was to play against some of those guys. You know what I mean?
You know what? Next time, Brian, we'll invite you to the talkSPORT paddle competition. I promise you we'll get you involved.
I played with Gareth, actually. Gareth Southgate. Gareth's good. You know, he's got good, technically very good. Matt Kilgannon's a good player as well. So, yeah, there's a few of us guys up north who probably smugly looking at the guys boasting about their abilities on talkSPORT.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us this morning, mate, and good luck with everything. Thank you for your time.
Cheers, Brian. Good luck.
Take care, guys.
Brian Dean, the former West Ham and Leeds man, and sounds like he's a pretty good
yeah,
player, right? You playing a bit of paddle these days, Cass?
No, I haven't played paddle. Never played
paddle once before?
I've heard about it, but I just don't think my knee would hold up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, don't know. Maybe, you know, you never know. You might be surprised, Cass.
Yeah.
I reckon you'd be the sort of guy that wouldn't need to move much playing paddle. You'd be so forceful with your shot.
A bit like me playing days.
Yeah, there we go. Just that target man up front, holding the ball up. First touch is so good. Doesn't need all this running in behind nonsense and pressing. Feed the ball to Cass.
I'm more depressing.
Well, West Ham Leeds is live on talkSPORT this afternoon. It's a 4:30 kickoff in the FA Cup quarter-final. And another reminder, we have got you well covered tomorrow in the Championship. All of the big games are on the talkSPORT network, starting with Portsmouth versus Oxford, which is a big game in the bid to avoid relegation, Cass.
When we come back, I'm going to ask you a quick question.
Is it a hard question?
We'll see.
Okay. Is it about football?
No.
Oh, okay. You're listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT in partnership with the Volkswagen Transporter. Search VW Transporter to find out more.
What about Mo Salah? With Saudi in mind, is he now the most eligible free agent around?
It's a strange one because Saudi sources sense that MLS are going to make a big push, and MLS sources think he's nailed on to go to Saudi Arabia. And as a free agent, of course, there might be European interest. I'm told that reports linking him with a move to PSG are wider the mark. They're past that Galacticos era within MLS. A fair few teams have ruled themselves out, such as San Diego, for example, and New York City FC. But there will be franchises in MLS exploring that deal, something that Chicago might enter the fray, and others believe that one of the two clubs in Los Angeles will be interested within Saudi Arabia. We know the clubs themselves would love to be able to sign Salah, particularly Al Qadsiya, where Brendan Rodgers is manager, Al Ittihad and Al Hilal. Neom FC could enter the picture as well. But the strange thing I'm hearing in Saudi, Jim, is that the clubs would love him. They've got to be able to finance it. They're reliant on central funding, and central deal makers are still actually debating, is there value in signing Salah at his age and at his wage? Last summer, they would have done it because they were negotiating the TV rights, and they thought that they could sign Salah and get a really lucrative deal in Egypt. Now the central deal makers in Saudi are less...
Very good morning. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. I'm Sam Ellard. Alongside me is Tony Cascarino. I reckon maybe 4-hour shows for the Weekend Sports Breakfast team is the way forward, Cass.
We do it quite often, Sam.
Yeah, sometimes.
When there's no game, no
yeah.
Kickoff. Now, stop,
Cass, I'm all looking on. Go on.
The question.
Right.
Now, NASA obviously headed to the moon this week.
Oh, I don't know.
Right? Okay. I asked the Muppets outside, how far is the moon? Now, we've only got one moon, so I know a lot of people don't know the answer, but what would you think? How, sort of in miles, how far the moon is? And it does change. It's never always the same, but approximately.
You want it in miles?
Yes. What would you say off the top of your head?
I mean, I don't know, so I'm going to say 250,000 miles. I don't know.
You've told him. You boys have told. Gab said millions.
Well, it could have been me. I mean, how was he supposed to? It's a hard question, isn't it, Cass?
Not really. You've got one moon.
What would you have gone for?
Well, I know the answer.
But I mean, were you close in your head to the answer?
I knew it a lot.
What is the answer?
Well, it varies from nearly 240,000 miles, but it changes in distance because obviously it's
so
orbiting
maybe
the planet.
Gab just it changed a bit higher.
No, you've got it right, and you haven't been told.
I'm possibly going to hold my hands up and say maybe I was fed a guess by one of the boys behind. Honestly, Cash, you want to know the truth? I was going to go around 500,000 miles.
Yeah, well, that's a fair guess, but right. Millions.
Yeah, no, I mean, Gabe, it's poor from you, really, isn't it, pal? Honestly, don't put your hands in the air like that. Bang out of order. I prefer it, Cass, when I ask you questions.
Yeah.
So now it's time for this.
Cascari yes or Cascari no?
On the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT.
What?
I'm looking forward to this. It's time for a bit of Cascari yes or Cascari no. This is where we get Cass to answer some burning questions. Cass, first question. How far are we away from the moon? No, I'm only joking with you. No Carabao Cup or FA Cup for Arsenal, but will they go on to win the Champions League and the Prem? Cascari yes or Cascari no?
I think they're getting very edgy and nervous, but I do really believe they'll get over the line. But it's going to be biting your fingernails time for Arsenal fans over the course of the next few weeks. I think they'll do it.
Which one?
Prem. Yeah, I don't think they'll win the Champions League.
I think they lose to Bayern Munich in the Champions League final.
Right.
But this is Cascari yes, Cascari no, not Sam yes, Sam no.
Well done, Sam.
Thank you. There's my hot take for you this morning. Will Arne Slot be gone at the end of the season? Cascari yes or Cascari no?
I think he will be gone, yeah.
Okay. And can I just throw in, this isn't a yes or a no. In fact, I can make it a yes or a no. Will Xavi Alonso be the new manager next season? Cascari yes or Cascari no?
I doubt it.
So that's a no.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So it's Cascari yes, Cascari no, or Cascari I doubt it. We can do that.
Well, no means.
Well, who do you think will be then?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm not totally convinced on Xavi Alonso getting the job yet. I think maybe along the line, but it's a tricky one.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll see. Cascarino.
Do you know why? Because clubs go so
it's tough.
Left field.
Well, who would have thought Liverpool would go for Arnie Slot?
Exactly. Clubs go left field so often. The obvious candidate generally is not the one that gets the job.
Hearts can go back to the top of the Scottish Premiership again today if they avoid defeat. Are they going to win this season? Cascarino, yes, or Cascarino?
Are they going to win the SPL?
Correct.
No.
Okay. Who do you fancy? You go Celtic, aren't you?
Well, I said it'd be one of the next two. I think Rangers are actually more likely to win it than Celtic. But I don't think Hearts will get over the line.
How important, though, do you think, just a broader kind of conversation has this been for Scottish football? Because we know it's been domination by one team for so many years. The fact that we haven't just got a 2-horse title race, a 3-horse title race, it's been great to see, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I've loved it. I've enjoyed, the SPL, as in watching Celtic and Rangers obviously come against so many problems this season, and it's allowed Hearts, who, as we all know, Tony Bloom got involved in, and they're the team that have been leading the way all season. Big game from today. They've got to get 3 points, and it's made the SPL a big talking point, which is great for Scottish football.
That was Cascarino, yes, or Cascarino, no. There is, though, so much more coming up today on talkSPORT. After us, Sean Custis and Henry Winter bring you the Sunday edition. That is from 10 o'clock this morning. Max Rushton and Barry Glendenning then bring you the warm-up, which starts at 12 o'clock today. We have one more FA Cup quarter-final live on the talkSPORT network. All the build-up from 3 o'clock is a 4:30 kick-off. Natalie Sawyer in the hot seat. And then following that, it's Madge and Pars with the final word, ready to take your calls on all of the weekend sport. Make sure you keep it talkSPORT today. You can also download the app to make sure you don't miss a thing. Cass, an absolute pleasure making my weekend sports breakfast debut with you.
Might see you tomorrow.
I might see you tomorrow at Milwall. I'm going to be at Milwall working very hard. I'm looking forward to being with Adrian Durham on Around the Grounds. You're going to be watching your former side. Any plans for the rest of the day?
I'm roast dinner today.
Okay, what time do you have your roast dinner?
3:45.
Is bang on 3:45?
No, that's the time the table's booked for.
Oh, you're going out. Okay, there we go. Cass, you enjoy your roast. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you at Milwall tomorrow. Cass will be back next Saturday morning at 6 o'clock alongside Shabana Hearn. Coming up next, though, it is the Sunday edition with Sean Custis and Henry Winter.
Yeah, I know, Ali, I got in trouble with you and Cass yesterday because you accused me of basically coming in and causing absolute chaos with the Mark Cucurella and Chelsea story. So I've got another one for you today. I thought, why not just carry it on?
Good on you.
And I thought we'd carry on with Chelsea and Enzo Fernandez, because Enzo Fernandez in the Chelsea firing line. Chelsea players have been unimpressed with his leadership on and off the pitch during the team's dramatic slump in form. He's berated teammates on the pitch, been vocal in the dressing room. Obviously, he's a vice-captain at Chelsea. He's put his own future in doubt. He has hinted at Real Madrid. He then recently has said on a stream whilst on international duty about how he'd love to live in Madrid. I mean, he ain't really playing hard to get, is he? It's giving a little bit desperate. It's not a good look, is it? As a Chelsea fan, you'd want him out if he's behaving like this.
Well, listen, if he doesn't want to be there, it's very, very difficult for the manager or the players, to want somebody in the dressing room like that. They've got the potential to be a bit of a rotten apple.